be shocked if the New York Knicks go out there and still bring in a head coach from another team. There are rumors that the Knicks are not done trying to steal a head coach, specifically head coach Jason Kidd of the Dallas Mavericks. And this was the perfect time to bring back the live stream fan favorite, Marcel Martin of Mavericks Digest, because there is just so much noise surrounding all this right now, and we're going to break it all down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Knicks Digest Happy Hour show with Chris and Matt. Marcel is back and better than ever. The most tenured guest. No one has been on the show more than Marcel, because every time he comes in here, he brings the fire. He brings the rivalry back between the Knicks and the Mavericks that sort of ignited with Porzingis, but there's a lot behind that, obviously. Marcel, it's good to have you back, and more importantly, it's good to know that we could just steal Jason Kidd from the Mavericks twice now.
There we go. Look, first of all, Chris, Matt, thank you for inviting me. And before we kick things off, before things get ugly, I'm gonna be nice, because I know that's something that you're not used to, but I'm gonna be nice. I just want to say shout out to Knicks Digest, shout out to Chris, shout out to Matt, shout out to that other guy that shall not be named. You guys do really good work on this channel. I mean, 17K subs. Y'all are killing it. Y'all giving me a run for my money. So I just want to give y'all flowers. Y'all doing a great job. If you're watching this, you're not subscribed, you're wrong. Subscribe.
Thank you.
So anyway,
Marcel.
Now that I'm done playing nice, first of all, I understand Knicks fans, Knicks players, everybody in the organization may have complaints about Tom Thibodeau. Someone of sound mind and body, for the most part, if you can produce results, I don't care how you feel. If you can produce results, I don't care how you feel. All right? Every coach has flaws. No coach is perfect. If we take a look at Jason Kidd, he's had a very good run as a coach so far, but there are still problems that a lot of fans have with Jason Kidd when it comes to not calling timeouts, when it comes to not challenging, bad no calls or bad calls by the refs, or just the rotations and playing certain players over others. Yeah, Jason Kidd has flaws. I am glad that he's our head coach, but he has flaws. You look at, Tom Thibodeau, who's known to play his starters all 48 minutes of every single game and doesn't really like to substitute anybody. Yeah, of course. And y'all know, y'all are actually Knicks fans. Y'all watch the game, so you can probably expand on his shortcomings. But, Coach of the Year, got you the furthest you've ever been in 25 years, right? And I understand if there was complaints, you couldn't give it just one more year to see if, hey, we lost in the second round last year, but we made it to the third round this year. We lost to the Pacers, but give me one more year to try to get us over that next level, because I just got us to this level. Let me try one more time. Maybe you got to bring on some new assistants. Maybe I need some more fresh minds around me to try to orchestrate it. Now, that's Tom Thibodeau. He has to come out that way to the organization. He's probably like, I know what I'm doing. I'm Tom Thibodeau. I'm gonna play all my players, all 48. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's all up to him, obviously. But I think it's very foolish to fire this head coach and not really have good suitors in mind. I mean, I think one team that's really good at finding a head coach is the Phoenix Suns. I mean, they've had 4 head coaches in the last 4 seasons. That's pretty good. They know how to find a coach. And asking coaches of teams that are on contract that obviously, Billy Donovan, the Bulls told you no. The Bulls told you no. And I saw something on Twitter. Look, why are you asking for Billy Donovan? Like, that's strange. But I saw something on Twitter yesterday. It was so funny. It was like, I think the Knicks are asking all these like tenured coaches on contract, knowing that they're going to say no, so they can justify hiring Rick Brunson as your head coach. I'm like, makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
So the reason that they're doing it, and I will explain the Thibodeau thing as well, because as I said, I do know someone who like gave me that inside info on that. But the reason they're doing this is because this is what Leon Rose actually does all the time with players as well. He calls teams and it's like, what's the price of this player? The reason is it's to gauge the market. Say the Knicks, for instance, say that a team did say yes. Say the Mavericks, just because you're here right now. Say the Mavericks said, yeah, you can interview Jason Kidd if you guys are going to offer him some Godfather offer in 2 years anyway, and we're going to lose him regardless. We'd like to know now. And I don't think that's good reasoning. I'm just explaining, say if it happened, a random hypothetical. So basically what they're doing is they want to know how much, like when they contacted the Timberwolves, when they contacted who else did they contact? The Hawks, the Rockets, the Bulls. When they did that, what it is more than anything, it's knowing how much it would cost to have to trade for a head coach, because they do this with players. They call teams and ask, what's the value of this player? And then move on knowing, well, this player is rated with this value. So now we know that, and we enter into this trade talk knowing this part of information that this team might not. Or maybe they do anyway, but it's so the Knicks stay on top of things. They're a diligent team with the biggest analytics department in the NBA. What they're doing here is they're just being careful with everything they do. Everything the Knicks do, they're so big on the analytics of basketball that they're going to go out there and they're going to make sure everything adds up. Everything has a rhyme or reason to it. Nothing is random. And look, I don't disagree. The fact that Tibbs got fired for making the conference finals was weird. I figured his job was safe because he made it. Here's the thing. The players lost faith in him. And the players, not all of them, but there was a meeting with everyone who, I don't want to say matters, it's the wrong word for it. Everyone who had a significant role with the New York Knicks last season that is widely expected to have a significant role with the Knicks next season. There's 7 guys you can instantly rattle off in that. That's Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Karl-Anthony Towns, Mitchell Robinson, Josh Hart, Deuce McBride. It's not a guarantee all 7 of those guys will be back, but it's likely that I imagine the Knicks are not going to do much this offseason outside of trying to fill out that bench. I also think that's the smart thing for a team to do when you made the conference finals with a pretty awful bench, is you make it better. You don't trade for Giannis, who's not even really available. You definitely don't trade for Kevin Durant, because that makes no sense for this team. It's just not... It's not the right time for the Knicks to trade for a 37-year-old dealing with a bunch of injuries. You seemingly don't agree?
That hasn't won in 10 years?
That hasn't won anything without the greatest team ever assembled by a country mile. So there's no reason to do something like that. So when the players all said they didn't understand their roles and none of them had an undying faith in Tibbs, it was the writing on the wall was already there. The players saw it. When Jalen Brunson was asked if Tibbs is the right coach, he's like, did you seriously just ask me that? Yes. The widely percepted thing of it now is he definitely saw the writing on the wall. He knew Tibbs had coached his final game with the Knicks. Brunson knew what was coming. So with all of that in mind, they go into he's not going to kick Tibbs while he's down, one. But then also, the Knicks knew that Tibbs was not long for this team. And what I wanted more, I've openly said throughout the playoffs, there were moments where I was like, Tibbs should be fired. Albeit he's made mistakes. His timeout stuff is not great. The way that he uses his timeouts, his timeout management is just poor. Outside of that, he doesn't coach offense. Besides the bad offensive coach, he leaves you up to a freelance offense. He's done this with Derrick Rose. He's done this with whenever he has any scoring guard. He's like, I don't know, they'll figure it out. They'll just call an ISO and it'll work. Like, they're left to their own devices. The lack of scrimmages meant a lack of just team chemistry. After in 2023-24, the starting lineup was Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. The starting lineup in the final game of the season in 2024-25 was Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG, Towns, Mitchell Robinson. In the majority of that season, Mitchell Robinson was not there because he was injured and he was not starting when he came back. It was a completely new team that did not get the proper preparation to play together, and they blamed Tibbs, and as they should have. Now, if they wanted to keep Tibbs, I think the smart thing for them to do was something Tibbs would not allow, as you alluded to earlier, which was going out there and saying, okay, we need to hire Thibodeau, an associate head coach who's effectively going to be an offensive coordinator. That guy is Mike Brown. They did not do that. And now they're interested in Mike Brown as a head coach because Brown very much impressed them in the 2020 interview that he had when the job was already locked up for Tibbs. That in itself, I think, is kind of a mistake because I think Mike Brown is one of the best assistant coaches in basketball who should probably stay in that assistant coaching role. All right, I just ranted. Matt, what's up?
All right. So, First of all, I want to go ahead and thank the 135 people sharing their Friday afternoon with us here on Knicks Digest. Just want to know from people in the comments, yes or no, should Tom Thibodeau have been fired? Me and Chris didn't take a side 2 weeks ago, but we just said maybe he might get fired. This is the buzz, and a lot of people had a lot of strong opinions about that. Now I want to know if people agree or not. But Tom Thibodeau was fired because of what happened on the basketball court. It wasn't about wins and losses. Chris, you know I love watching football really carefully. I study the film instead of just looking at stats. I always say the stats don't matter to me. That's what happened with Tom Thibodeau. The wins didn't matter. Didn't matter that he made it to the conference finals. The Knicks looked at how he coached and specifically the lack of adjustments in his coaching game, which is why they said this coach has maxed out his ceiling. He cannot take this team farther than what they are right now. Starts with the Boston series. Why is it that in the first half, they lit us up with three-pointers pretty much every single time, and then in the second half, when Tom Thibodeau makes some coaching adjustments, the Boston Celtics can't hit a three anymore? It's because they decided they were going to switch more, and they were going to stay out on the three-point shooters. Why does it take them to the third quarter to make these adjustments? I understand halftime you get a bigger opportunity to make adjustments, but Tom Thibodeau has to be, or he needed to be, a faster adjuster. That was the problem. Chris, you mentioned how he needed an offensive coordinator. That matters a lot when this team is trying to build an offensive team. The two best players on the team, Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, play almost zero defense combined. So we need an offensive coach to maximize their offensive prowess. Leon Rose wants to put together an offensive team. Tom Thibodeau didn't fit the mold anymore. He's a great floor raiser and a great coach overall. He's just not a championship head coach. And one more thing, I know the coaching carousel, if you want to call it, the head coach search looks really unprofessional for the Knicks right now. Ever since Leon Rose took over in 2020, it's been fantastic. Every single move. Some of them looked a little bit scary in the beginning, except for Karl-Anthony Towns. They all worked out really, really well. Mm-hmm. And we just got to trust him. I promise you, the plan wasn't hope that a team gives up an already established head coach. That wasn't the plan when Tom Thibodeau was fired. There is a name that they want, that they feel certain is going to take the job. Leon Rose knows what he's doing.
Absolutely.
I mean, good luck to you, I guess, in this pursuit of a head coach, as you ask about every coach that's on contract that the team will have to trade away for. And because you gave away 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, and because you gave OG Anunoby $200 million, you essentially are stuck with this roster for a while. And that's one of the reasons why, on my channel, at least, when all the news and buzz was going around and Jason Kidd and New York, just mutual interest, is like, look, if I'm Jason Kidd, and I know that the team that I'm on right now coaching went through some crazy trade debacle back in February that literally made us a laughing stock and just changed the entire way I have to coach this team now. Knowing I went through all that, yes, I may want to leave. However, we have Cooper Flagg. We will be getting Cooper Flagg. We don't have him yet, but we will be getting Cooper Flagg. To me, I think that's a good reason for a lot of people to stay, including a coach like Jason Kidd, who has the opportunity to coach a great talent like Cooper Flagg. Why would he leave that to go, no offense, but to go to New York, where I now have to pick up where Tibbs left off, fix whatever issues he has? I may have the same issues as he does. You mentioned how, the lack of timeouts or the lack of adjustments. Jason Kidd 2.0, I don't know. That's very similar issues. But also, like I just said, you moved 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. You gave OG $200 million. If Jason Kidd goes there, if any coach goes there and is like, I need something to change. You need to go get this player. I need this type of player. They can't. They can try and trade. Sure, you can try and trade, but you don't have any draft capital. Your salary, the salary is messed up in New York. $200 million for OG? I love OG. Lord knows I do. He knows I do. $200 million? I know wing defenders are a luxury in today's NBA. You got Herb Jones, PJ Washington. I mean, Trey Murphy, he's also a wing defender. You got OG. So, there's a lot of great wing defenders out there, and they're starting to become a hot commodity, right? The value is going up. $200 million for the man that didn't play a single game in the championship run that his team had?
That was like 6 years ago.
And he didn't play a single game.
Yeah, he was hurt.
Wait,
$200 million later.
I got a good reason why
6
Jason
years.
Kidd would want to switch, would want to go to the Knicks from the Mavericks. The Knicks, the East is weak. The East is so weak.
See, it's easy.
And so is the Knicks. What are we talking about?
The Knicks objectively made the conference finals without a bench. First year of the process that's going on here.
The Knicks were a ridiculous bounce away from Game 7 with the team that is currently beating the Oklahoma City Thunders in the NBA Finals. You can't tell me the Knicks can't compete with the Thunder. They clearly can. They clearly could have. So you get to go through the Charmin Soft East, and then you're pretty much, as people are healthy, as long as guys are healthy, you're pretty much guaranteed the Eastern Conference Finals.
Sure, but I think in the pursuit of a new head coach, whoever it has to be more proven than someone like Tom Thibodeau, who I think is, in your chat may argue or disagree, is either a few steps ahead or a few steps behind Jason Kidd, but they're essentially very similar coaches. They're very similar. Jason, I don't know if Tibbs ever seen a finals. Jason Kidd has coached one. Okay, so Jason Kidd's at least made it to the finals as a coach. Having Luka Doncic makes it a little bit easier. Like, I totally get that, but he at least made it there, so he's seen it.
Going against LeBron, and then also the Western Conference is tougher for Tibbs at the same time, but still, it still holds water that he didn't make one.
Yeah, so I'd argue that they're not too far off as coaches. There are other coaches out there that I think, and I've talked to you about it, Chris. Coaches like, and you're not going to get them, obviously, but a coach like Chris Carlisle.
Rick.
A coach like Rick Carlisle would be great for a team like the Knicks. I mean, you see what he's got his team doing,
absolutely.
what Indiana's doing. They all will run through a wall for Rick Carlisle, and the way that he coaches, the way that he breaks down the game. Rick Carlisle, if and when he wins this championship, so much more respect has to be put on him, because not only did he do it in 2011 with the Mavericks, he did it again with a whole new team in a different style of basketball, in a whole, we can say it's a new era. It's completely different than how the game was played.
14 years, yeah.
Yeah, like, that's very impressive, but also that's a young team. If y'all don't know this, back when he was on the Mavericks, one of the biggest issues was he did not trust his young players.
They're also just old in general. Like, they're just an older team regardless.
Yeah, but I mean, he's got Benedict Mathurin out there making Ben only makes like $7 million a year. Out there, game 3 was the leading scorer, hooping off the bench. Come on. And I don't know if y'all saw it, it's a clip of Rick Carlisle breaking down like an offensive play and just how the ball swings and moves and how they go from a DHO to a pick and pop, and it's like, that's the type of coach. X's and O's that can see the game from different layers. That's what you need. And I don't think that's Jason Kidd. No disrespect to Jason Kidd. That's not him. And I'm not sure. I mean, I like Mike Brown. I think the Sacramento Kings are the Knicks of the West, but they're just worse because they're looking for a point guard. The most recent news is Sacramento's looking for a point guard. Well, you had Tyrese Halliburton, and you also had De'Aaron Fox.
Wait,
what are you
got to
doing?
explain that. How are they the Kings of the West? Or how are they
They're
the
the Hornets.
No, the Kings
they're
are
the
the
garbage
Knicks
I
of the
took out
West
last
because they
night of the
make
West.
dumb decisions. They shoot themselves in the foot trying to fix a problem.
The Knicks president inherited a roster that had a starting 5 of, what was it? Kadeem Allen, RJ Barrett, shout out RJ for being the GOAT. Kevin Knox, no shout out. Julius Randle when he was bad, and he didn't sign Randle. And what's his face? It wasn't Mitch, he was hurt. Maybe it was Mitch.
Was it Nerlens Noel?
Nah, Nerlens got signed by Leon, so it was some rando who I can't even remember.
When I call the Kings the Knicks of the West, it's not as far as I'm concerned. The way I look at it is they're a team that had a very long drought of being trash. The Knicks were trash for a very long time.
Fair.
Things start to get good. They got De'Aaron Fox, they got Halliburton, they traded Halliburton, they got Sabonis. Things started getting better. The Knicks finally made the playoffs after 16 years. They were on the right track. They just had to stay the course. Things got better, and then slowly falls apart. You trade away De'Aaron Fox. You trade away more players. Now you have Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan and Sabonis all on the same team. And now you fired a head coach, Mike Brown, who is a good head coach. Especially for that Kings team, he is a great head coach. I heard there was some issues between him and De'Aaron Fox.
He threw Fox under the bus in an interview.
Too bad. I don't know. Maybe
I agree with you.
Maybe I'm maybe I'm
No,
right?
I agree with you on this.
But it's like, that's coach. And I need to hold myself accountable, and he's going to hold me accountable. Now, if it's unwarranted, sure, we can talk about that. But, I hate how in the NBA, coaches and other staff have to watch what they say about players, or that happens. And that's dumb, because now look at the Kings. What happened? You were a playoff contender, and now you're back to how you were for the last 16 years. So the Knicks, you went through that drought of mediocrity. You were a laughingstock. But things started to get better. You got better players. You got better coaches. And then you shot yourself in the foot. This is the first domino. Don't let it keep falling, or you will be the Kings of the East.
Here's the difference between the Kings and the Knicks. And literally, I'm not asking a rhetorical question. I'm asking a literal question. Do you remember what year it was that the Kings recently made the playoffs and Brown won head coach? Was that 2023? They lost to the Warriors in 7.
I think it was 23, yeah. I think it was 2.
So that was the first year the Knicks made the playoffs with Jalen Brunson. The prior year they'd missed the playoffs. The year before that they'd made the playoffs. All those other years, the Knicks made the Knicks have missed the playoffs twice since it became 2020. In 2020, COVID year, they sucked. They were one of the worst teams in the NBA.
Oh, I remember.
2022. Those are the 2 years the Knicks have missed the playoffs. They've made it 4 times. The Kings, they've made the playoffs 1 time and missed it 5 times recently. So, yes, they both were bad in the same span of time, but you could pick an NBA team out of a hat, and as long as it's not the Celtics outside of that 1 year, you could probably say, oh yeah, I remember when they sucked, and the Kings also sucked. And I'm not saying that the Knicks didn't suck for a longer period of time than most teams. They missed the playoffs for 7 straight years. That's atrocious. I'm not pretending like it's not. But there's a bunch of other teams that you could say, I remember their drought. It was the same time as the Sacramento Kings drought, because that has been going on since George Bush was the president. So I think that's the difference there, where yes, the Knicks and the Kings in the 2010s, very, very similar, have an elite player, whether it's DeMarcus or Carmelo, but they're not doing anything else because the incompetent management. The difference is the Knicks, they fired Phil Jackson, hired someone even dumber in Steve Mills, and the GM, who was not very great, which is Scott Perry. Want to guess what team he's the GM of now? The Kings. So there's that. But then the Knicks actually hired someone good at his job, and it's Leon Rose. That's the thing. The Knicks, they've consistently gotten better in all this span. All they've done is improve.
They've been getting better. And maybe it's too early to call y'all the Kings of the East, or they're the Knicks of the West, but in the upcoming seasons, I say 2 to 3 seasons from now, can you continue to find success? And I'm not saying you have to make the finals now. If you make the second or third round and get knocked out, in some way or shape or form, you're not getting worse. But if you fail to make the playoffs, if you're a first round exit, or if things start to really fall apart, right, then we're gonna give you that Kings. That we gonna give you that crown. We gonna give you that crown, King. Yeah. But in all seriousness, though, it's too early to make those assumptions. Too early to make those assumptions, obviously. But I just remember, for the longest time, like I used to clown the Knicks because it's like, man, the fans are diehard, but they really do think their team is better than what they really are. But it's cool though. It's cool though. When you're a fan, you can think whatever. I think the Mavericks winning the chip every year. It doesn't matter. But it's like all that hype, all that excitement. You know, it's the Garden. You want to come to New York? It's the Garden. Yeah, like, all right, you're gonna go out there and lose in front of Spike Lee? Like, what are we doing here? Like, well, all right, everybody want to go to New York, but no one wants to win in New York. But now it's different. I'm saying that's how it used to be, but from a basketball standpoint, if I take my fandom out of it and just as a fan of basketball, I do like what the Knicks have been doing. And I think the reason why I'm so critical of what their coaching situation is now is because it would really suck if that team just starts to fall off. If that team really just goes from being a top 3 team in the East, able to knock out the Celtics, able to bang with the Pacers, to then going back to where they were a while ago. Like, I hate seeing that with teams where you got it, you're right there, but one small move ruins all of it, like the Kings.
Well, go, Matt, you go.
One thing, so give or take a year on either side of this, but I was reading a stat a couple days ago from like the year me and Chris were born, 2021, to 2022, right before they started getting good.
We were born in 2021. That's true.
Oh, sorry, 2001 to 2022.
2001.
The Knicks had the Knicks had the absolute worst winning percentage in the entire NBA. Even with a bad coach, they're not going to go back to that. That's not where they're going to be. Mm-hmm. But what the New York Knicks did is they said they're not satisfied with just being really good. They want to take the risk to be great, the risk to be a team who can actually win a championship. Watching Tom Thibodeau, when I am texting Chris the adjustments that need to be made in the first quarter, and then we watch Thibodeau make them at the end of the third, and it works, that can't happen. Yeah. I can't know more about I'm not a better coach than an NBA coach. That can't happen. That can't happen.
And the way you put it, Matt, and I felt the exact same way, is why do I feel like I'm picking up on adjustments the Knicks should make that Tom Thibodeau isn't? It makes you question, I have to be wrong, because there's no way that I'm thinking of something that's correct.
Is what is the bigger bad that Thibodeau's holding back that I am not seeing? Because the Celtics with the wide open threes, I just cannot fathom.
So the one team.
What they needed to do was just let them take the contested layups. They make like 70-ish% of them, other than the wide open threes, which they make a slightly lower percent of. But when you do, points per 100 possessions, you're going to be worse off giving up the wide open threes against Boston, the team that does it. I cannot, if you get beat, getting over a pick or something like that, whatever. I cannot stand it when Karl-Anthony Towns is on the free throw line and his guy's outside the 3-point line. I can't stand it when I watch Jalen Brunson do this little show with one hand, put his left hand up, and then turns his back and runs to go recover to his other man. I cannot stand that. I told Chris, Jason Tatum versus Jalen Brunson is a mismatch.
Yeah.
The worst mismatch is Jason Tatum against air and just a wide open three. I cannot stand it.
And you look at that, and Marcel, you can jump in right after this, I think it comes down to the Knicks. They have to go away from a coach that's going to be a defensive first style. They have to accept the fact that if you have Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, yes, you have great individual defenders. OG Anunoby, one of the most versatile defenders in basketball, has the argument for basketball's most versatile defender. On top of that, Mitchell Robinson. Yeah.
Saying that for years about OG.
We've talked about this on this show before. On top of that, Mitchell Robinson, phenomenal low block defender, changes the impact of the game. Mikal Bridges was not a great defender all season long until the playoffs. Then he locked in. I don't know what the hell changed, but something changed where Mikal woke up and started playing like Mikal Bridges. Deuce McBride, good defender. You have good defense on this team. It's a matter of the Knicks are playing like a defensive first team that also is individually good offensive players, and that's true. You do in Brunson and Towns, but those guys can't play defense. The Knicks, what they have is great offensive players who have individually good defensive players who can make the defense top 15 to top 10 range as long as you get a system that works. Thibodeau's system, one, didn't work, and two, relied on the defense creating the offense based off stops. Something that's never going to work when your two best players are Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. It's impossible.
Yep, and for all those reasons are why you don't want Jason Kidd.
Yes.
There was, and to y'all's, to both your point of being able to watch the game and just predict what was going on and what the coach needs to do. Not saying it's to the same degree, but it's happened a few times pre-Luka trade. Whenever I would watch the Mavericks led by Jason Kidd, Luka calls for a screen. He's going to roll off, pick and roll, kick it to the corner. Swear to you, there was a game where I saw Luka do that 4 possessions in a row. I'm like, if I see it, the defense sees it, and that's why all 4 times didn't lead to a basket. So you definitely want a creative coach. Being a defensive first coach is good if you have good scorers. If you have players who can score, you can be a defensive first coach. Okay, cool. Go get them ready for defense. You got a team that can score. But to your point, having just individual scorers that individually can score and not really work within a team, that's a problem. And Chris, we talked about it. Is the solution Chris Paul?
To a high degree, I think
82
he
games
is
played
a
last
solution.
season.
I think he's
played last
a
season.
solution.
7 assists a game.
Yeah, still a great player. Now, there's also our comments, and the reason I bring this up now is it's just a good transitional thing, and then, Matt, you could jump in because I know you don't love the Chris Paul thing based off the face you made, is that there's people saying that also the Knicks should be, and they will be, interested in Malcolm Brogdon. Now, first of all, I do have a video coming out on that, as well as a few other free agents and some other trade topics that I know you guys hate those videos, so I try to pepper them in with other stuff as well. It's not going to be a huge jump
I
of
don't
just
care
those.
if they love it or if they hate it. They're getting them.
Yeah, you're getting some free agency speculation videos, but we got some inputs. But real quick, Malcolm Brogdon, to a degree, does all those things as well. The issue is he plays 28 games a year. Yeah. But Matt,
Someone said his body was made of 99.9% of glass, and they're absolutely right.
True.
And that was my holy king, just to give them a shout out in the comments. But does Chris Paul? So what role is Chris Paul playing? He's going to be off the bench.
Yeah, he'd be their point guard off the bench.
Point guard off the bench.
So Deuce would be the 2.
Would be the 2. Okay, so I'm worried that would make our team in general too short.
That is the fear.
It's a tall person's game. The thing that makes Halliburton look like he's close to Jalen Brunson when they're on the court together is the fact that Halliburton's taller, which gives him opportunities to do things that Jalen Brunson can't do.
Yeah.
And the fact that we have Brunson who's short, Josh Hart, who's short. Josh Hart, a 6'7" Josh Hart would be unbelievable at basketball.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Scotty Barnes? He could do it.
I heard he was available for someone like a Giannis.
No.
I don't think y'all trade Cat for him.
No, I'm not saying go trade for Scotty Barnes. I'm saying that's what Josh Hart would be if he was taller.
Yeah, if he was taller, yeah.
Yeah, I'm worried about the height. I'm worried about the height with Chris Paul.
That's also fair. If you're doing that, it hinges off Mitchell Robinson goes back to the bench because you just need the height. On top of that, you are probably signing a veteran big man as well as keeping Huckporty in there. Just because Huckporty's dealt with injuries in the past, he's dealt with that Achilles.
You need the height, so you send Mitch to the bench?
Just in regards to yeah, because Chris Paul and Deuce are both coming off the bench, or Chris Paul.
Oh,
and
right.
Deuce.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got it.
So it becomes that whole argument of what are you going to do there, and I think Mitch should start because I prefer Towns to 4. I think he guards the perimeter a little bit better than the paint because at least he's not fouling people, and also he's not bad at staying in front of you. As long as he's in front of you, he's still 7 feet tall. It's a matter of keeping him on the perimeter because Towns is convinced he's a small forward. So you just have to, basically, you have to compromise with him because he's just not going to do it.
Staying in front of people in the modern NBA is so underrated. These guys have become so good at shooting, they hit almost every single wide open shot. But once it's like 2K. You contest them a little bit, their shooting percentage goes way down. I know I'm saying something that probably sounds super obvious.
But still, it's correct.
Because in the playoffs, it frustrated me so much to see a lack of trust in our on-ball defender. Even when it was Jalen Brunson, I felt like we were getting into rotations and we were getting caught rotating instead of trusting the guy to play on-ball defense. I really think that some of those series and some of those games go differently if you give up more contested layups and less rotating to try to stop the wide open 3, which a lot of the times we gave him up.
Also, something else that, I do have a video coming out on this, so it's not like I'm going to give everything away about this right now. But they need another ball handler. Jalen Brunson's left alone on that team, and I blame Marcel, or I more blame the Mavericks, not Marcel specifically, because as I've been blamed, it's more just like Jalen Brunson was so good playing off of Luka. Offensively, obviously that backcourt is going to struggle defensively, it's not hard to play off of Luka Doncic. He's Luka, but Brunson's numbers when he's been next to literally any other guard who can bring up the ball or just control the ball. Deuce McBride can do it, but he's better as a shooting guard. That's the thing with Deuce. Deuce McBride is the reincarnated Avery Bradley. I'm convinced. He's just Avery Bradley part 2, Electric Boogaloo. And you see that he's just more of a 6'3" shooting guard, but he can play point guard. You just need a point forward out there in order for that to happen. And Brunson's great with Deuce out there. He's great. He's been good with Cameron Payne, even though that defense is not good to see. When Brunson's out there with another guard who could bring up the ball, it lets Brunson play off ball. Now, I'm not comparing Brunson to Steph Curry because they're different players, but two things that those guys do have in common is they're both so ball dominant and on the ball so often because they have to be, especially Curry at this point in his career where the Warriors have been shuffling through trying to find anything that works. And, well, frankly, it has worked pretty recently. But, at the same time, what we're looking at is a guy who just cannot play off the ball because he doesn't have the personnel to do so. But when you see him off the ball, it's like, oh, he's actually a better off-ball player. He's just too good to ever be in this situation. The Knicks need someone, and it's not a star that I'm saying. They don't need Kevin Durant or Giannis for this. They need someone who can control the ball. So Brunson can, one, take a bit of a break off the ball, but obviously the lesser minutes for not playing for Tom Thibodeau will help that as well. But you also just need someone who can control the tempo. Chris Paul is one of the greatest tempo controllers in history of the game. That stuff doesn't go away. The mind does not go away at 40 years old. He's still that guy. Also, a fun little thing that you could do with Chris Paul is if you bring him on for a year, you could kind of mold him to be your head coach soon. And given they need a head coach today, or not today, but in the next 2 weeks, which is the issue here. So it becomes that, well, we're not going to get this chance because of blah, blah, blah. We have a new head coach. But it's one of those situations. And also, Marcel, speaking of all the Knicks or the Kings of the East, by the way, for you know that while the Jets were bad, for a while the Saints were bad as well. I just want to throw that in there real quick, just to be a hater.
Who's your football team?
I I don't want to say.
Chris wakes up extra early every morning, so he has extra time to be a hater.
Yeah, I don't want to say who my football team
all
is.
right.
It's the
Chris,
last thing you want to hear.
See, that's the difference. I'm a proud Saints fan. Proud.
Oh, Chris, he's got you there.
Yeah, you can't be a proud Jets fan. It's humanly impossible. But
Hey,
No,
I don't know if I told you this. Y'all have my cousin.
Yeah, you did.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
So I got love for the Jets just because of that. I got love for you.
Good. All right, dude. Before we talk about, I know people want to talk about Katie and Giannis, but
Yeah, we
I gotta
will do
ask.
that.
I gotta ask the panel
Do they
before,
really?
just to close
Shout out.
close out the coaching discussion. Is a team that just made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and like Marcel said, and I agree, if they don't make it to the finals next year, it's gonna be seen as a disappointing season, almost even a failure season.
yeah.
Johnny Bryant is the favorite to be the head coach. I don't think this is the right kind of environment for a first-time head coach.
Steve Kerr with the Warriors.
Okay.
Joe Mazzulla with the Celtics.
Okay, hold on. Steve Kerr inherited a team that had Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Joe Mazzulla inherited
They
a team
weren't. I mean, Steph was that
but
guy.
they became who they became.
Yeah.
And Joe Mazzulla inherited a team that now was Joe Mazzulla the coach when they lost to the Warriors the first time or no?
No, that was Ime Udoka.
So
Mazzulla
he
took over in
inherited
23.
So he inherited a team. Cool. I don't know too much about Mr. Bryant, but I hear a lot of good things about him. But there's a lot more that you gotta like look into it because there have been times where it works. Look at Nick Nurse and the Raptors, right?
Nick Nurse and the 04 Pistons.
Boom.
Brought in Larry Brown.
But the problems that you have in New York,
Given Larry Brown's a different case. He was a great coach before.
I don't know. I agree with Matt that the environment for a first-time head coach may not be the right option, but if it's someone that people have faith in, you can make it work. If personnel and the players have faith in Johnny Bryant, then it can work out. But if it's like, let's look at the Toronto Raptors now, right? Like not this year, but 2-3 seasons ago when they got Darko Rajakovic. Huh? What are you doing? Oh, you're rebuilding. Cool. That makes sense, right? So it didn't matter how good of a coach that he was, right? But for the Knicks, if the goal is to make the finals, it'd be pretty nice to inherit a team that can make the finals, regardless of who your coach is. Do you both think the Knicks can make the finals, regardless of the coach?
I just think they need a coach who knows their style more than or can form a style that works more than anything.
I mean about this like on paper, like because the Toronto Raptors, just using the Raptors for example, they were one of the best teams in the East for years, but they kept losing to LeBron. That was literally their only roadblock to get to the finals. Of course, LeBron had to leave the East, and they had to get Kawhi, and then Nick Nurse took over. So, but even then, that team was able and was on paper at least good enough to make a finals. Nick Nurse just had to make sure that they don't go overboard and they crash and burn, right? So, I want to ask you guys again on paper, the New York Knicks as constructed right now. Can that team make it to the finals? Do you believe it? Do you think it's more so coaching or more so like roster construction?
So I think they, with luck, they can make it to the finals. Where they're going to have more depth next year. Day one, opening day of the NBA, zero doubt in my mind, they're going to be a team that you're going to say that roster that can make the finals because of how weak the East is. They're set up to beat the Celtics, who aren't going to have Tatum. All they got to do is be deep enough to hang with the Pacers, and we saw the Pacers and Cavaliers in the playoffs were not on the same level. So right now, I'm not worried about the Cavs in the playoffs either. I say the Knicks to the finals, absolutely realistic, 100,000%.
I like a lot of what you said, except about the Cavaliers. I don't know. From what I saw, the Cavs kind of got hurt at the wrong time. Not trying to say that they only lost because of injuries, but who knows how that series could have gone, right? But I hear you though. I hear you. I mean,
the thing is, the Cavaliers were dominant in the regular season, and even with the injuries, it didn't feel like the same team. So I'm not sure they're ready for the playoff physicality, the playoff atmosphere yet.
I think it's the build of the team. I think look, Darius Garland has gotten a lot better on defense. I'm not trying to pretend he hasn't. His screen navigation is one of the best in basketball. At the same time, that doesn't make him a good stopper. The Cavs backcourt is two guys who are good offensive players. One of them is a phenomenal offensive player in Donovan Mitchell. No shade towards Donovan Mitchell. I love Donovan Mitchell. One of my favorite players in basketball. I actually played on the same court as him well before he was Donovan Mitchell. But the team has two offensive focused guards and two bigs who are not very good offensive players. Now, Mobley is a solid offensive player. I'm not saying he's not. In fact, he's good. He's an all-star for a reason. But the lack of shooting in that front court, the lack of defense in that back court, it does not feel like a correctly built team to me. Now, I'm not saying that there's no chance, but I don't trust a team built like that.
See, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit too high on Cleveland, but although they flamed out in the playoffs, like they were hot all season long, and the one time that they had to like cool down was at the worst possible time.
And two of the last 3 years they've disappointed. I don't count the Celtics loss. The Celtics were great.
But I truly do believe that it's moments like this that makes a team better. That you have to trust what you have, make small adjustments. I don't think the Cavs have to make a big adjustment. What I've seen from the Cavaliers is they see. Let's look at Donovan Mitchell, right? And in Utah, from his rookie year, he was that guy, number one.
Oh, absolutely.
He was that guy. And it led to a few seasons where they were the number one seed, but it never mattered in the playoffs. But you take him and put him on a team like the Cavaliers, where Donovan Mitchell, if you look at his averages and just take away the name, is that player a superstar in the NBA?
I wouldn't say superstar.
Does that look like a number? But does his numbers, take away his name, look at his numbers, does that look like a number one option to you? And I'll pull it up right now.
Best player on a championship
I don't know them off the top of my head. So
the
what
raw
are they?
numbers are good. Like the raw numbers are maybe they're worse than I'm thinking.
24, 4.5, and 5.
I was
24,
expecting
4.5, and 5. No, those are good
absolutely
numbers.
not.
Those are good
No.
numbers. But are those the numbers of someone that's going to just dominate and take over and get you over the hump? No, but that's okay. That's okay because they have so many other players. They have Darius Garland. They have Jared Allen. They have Evan Mobley. They've got the dude that hit that crazy heat check against the Mavs.
Max
Oh, God, yes, right? Like
Dean Wade is a good player. I'm a big Dean Wade
They've got,
guy.
they got a Ty Jerome.
He's a free
with
agent.
A black name.
He is a free agent.
Great guy. But
He might leave.
But like they are such a well-oiled machine that it works. But what I saw in the playoffs, and it was like I think either the second to last or the last game of the series, when people were injured, Donovan Mitchell had to go back to being Utah Donovan Mitchell, and they lost. They need that team to be together because it works. It works. Everybody contributes. It's not heliocentric. Name the last time a heliocentric team won an NBA Finals.
I mean, no one drags a team ever in history. No one's dragged a team.
And it doesn't work. So I think the Cavs just have to learn from this experience and come back stronger. I think they'll be fine, just like the Knicks. The Knicks, you've been getting better year over year over year. There you go. Just take that experience. Keep what works. Keep what's helping you win. Get rid of what doesn't help you win, and keep it pushing. Again, don't be the Kings where I need a point guard. Well, you had Halliburton, who's in the finals. You had De'Aaron Fox, who's playing with Wemby right now. You got Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Sabonis. Like, you fired Mike Brown. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you gotta trust what you have, and you can't jump the gun. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't shoot yourself in the foot trying to get better. It's not worth it. And I think the Cavs, they just gotta stay put. I think they're a really good team. I really do. It's not a fluke that they were that good in the regular season. Like, with that team orchestrated on paper, you're telling me they're that good? Like, what? Come on now. Come on.
I see it all the time where there's a team that you look at a team and you go, their regular season tough. And I heard that a lot about the Cavaliers. And those people, I have a hard time saying that they're not wrong after watching them in the playoffs. I know with the injuries, because of that, that's why I'm saying still not worried about the Cavaliers. If they make a move and they do change the comp of their team while keeping the core together, then we can we can figure out a new plan there. We can re-talk about them. But as of right now, I'm not scared of the Cavaliers.
And that's fine. I think there's a lot of good teams in the East at the top. But it's a really steep drop after like the fourth seed, really. You got the Celtics, Pacers, Knicks, Cavs. Then it's not in any order, but those are the top four. Then
I mean, I think it's three. I would take the Celtics out of there right now.
Celtics because they're injured. I'm sorry, Celtics because they're
year off.
Yeah. I'm sorry. So that's the top three. Then it's a steep drop, right? And so the windows.
The Magic and Pistons have potential to make a leap, but
you're
banking on a leap.
They're on the climb. But what the Knicks have right now is a beautiful opportunity to win as soon as possible before these young teams get better. I mean, you see Toronto. They got Brandon Ingram. They have another lottery pick. Not saying Brandon Ingram's going to win it all, but like they're building a team. Orlando is a good team that's just not there yet. Even Chicago's figuring out. Detroit finally made the playoffs after being one of the worst teams in history last season, right? The Wizards are still the Wizards. They'll always be the Wizards, but there's a lot of young teams in the East that are just biding their time. You know, they're waiting for these other teams to flame out, like the 76ers, who was a top team for a while, trash now, right? The Celtics, amazing. They're hurt now, so that's another team that's out. The Bucks, cool, Giannis is coming back. I don't care. You have Kyle Kuzma on your team. I'm not worried about you at all. Not one bit. Not one bit.
Also, Dame being out till April, 35 years old.
That too.
Even with Dame, they don't matter. If you, they got to be better with Giannis. But the only young player that I'm worried about a team building a monster team around would be Paulo in the East.
Yeah.
He's the only guy I'm worried about. I'm not even worried about Cade Cunningham.
Mm-hmm.
No, at least not yet. No, but that's why I think it's very imperative for the Knicks to find. It doesn't have to be the best coach, but the right coach.
You need to find the right coach. I agree. Tibbs wasn't the best, but he was solid. No. You need to find someone who's right for the team, and that actually kind of ties us back in. Benjamin B is asking us to go back to it.
Spin it back.
All right, let's spin the block.
People. We'll go back to. All right, so we're gonna start with the man on the thumbnail of this video because I do want to ask you a genuine question, Marcel, about this whole thing. So basically, there's a world, according to Brian Windhorst, where even if a team says no, you can kind of just still try to steal the head coach away. I have two questions for you. Well, actually, I have kind of three. One of them's a two-parter. Okay. First, what is a reason that Kidd would go to the Knicks, and what's a reason why he would not?
Sorry, I got
I'm sorry. No. That was poor timing for me to ask you a question. I saw you eat too.
I shouldn't be eating on stream. I'm sorry.
But anyway, good.
Reasons why he would go to the Knicks or want to go. Well, after everything that happened in Dallas with the Luka trade, made his job very difficult. Mm-hmm. Also, it was reported that Jason Kidd was upset with how management handled post-trade, even from the day after the trade. Well, I guess it happened
letting him
so that following day.
Letting
Jason Kidd just like left him to the Sharks. There was an interview or like a meeting.
Nico left 3.5 minutes in.
And Jason Kidd, and he left after like 2-3 questions. Then Jason Kidd's just sitting there, and I'm sitting here watching like, that's not the GM. He didn't trade Luka. Why is he here? Like, right? Like, he's been thrown in the fire over this trade time and time again, and Nico's just been hiding in tunnels, hiding in his bunker somewhere. He got doxxed on Twitter, so I'm pretty sure he ain't ever home. So those are some reasons why he may want to go to New York. He also left Dallas, I want to say in 2012, to go to New York.
He did. Signed a 3-year deal, but only played one before retiring.
Only one, yeah. So
he retired.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I think there was a time where New York was looking at him as a coach before he came to Dallas.
In 2020, the Knicks hired him, and it was very widely regarded that the Knicks were going to hire Tibbs no matter what happened. However, Jason Kidd blew them away. This is why this stuff is coming up, because it was very clear Jason Kidd came in a close second for Tibbs, a guy who they had prematurely already decided before Tibbs walked in the room. They're like, we're almost certainly going with Tibbs. They knew it before it happened, and Kidd almost stole it.
Yeah, so like there's a lot of reasons why. Like, it's not random for, the Knicks and Jason Kidd have some type of, mutual interest. So those are the reasons why he would. Why he wouldn't. I mean, he's going to be able to coach Cooper Flag, right? And depending on how ownership feels, I truly believe, and I'm not a gambling man. I don't gamble, but if I were, I'd bet that by the time Nico's contract's over, he's gone. They're not going to bring him back. If they don't fire him, they're just going to let him go. Let him go. And probably at that point be like, hey, Jason, can you stay a little bit longer? You've had Cooper since he was a rookie. Can you want to stay? You know what I mean? Like, trying to keep what works. So Jason Kidd, knowing that he being innocent in all of this, could have tenure with the Mavericks, not just from playing there as a player and winning as a player, but as a coach. You have Cooper Flag, Jason Kidd, cool. I can coach a great player like Cooper Flag. Kyrie's here, AD's here. Maybe there's more reasons for him to leave than to stay, but those reasons to stay are very strong. Again, any head coach would love to have the opportunity to coach a player like Cooper Flag. That is something that every coach salivates. They want that. They want great players on their team. They don't want, Zion Williamsons.
That's fair. That's very fair. My other question is, do you think there's any chance that the Knicks could realistically try to pull Kidd away?
No.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think, and we talked about this, right? I joke a lot about it, but no matter how much we hear about the Knicks wanting Jason Kidd or whatever, I don't see it happening in reality. Could they keep asking every month until Jason Kidd's contract's up? Sure, you definitely can. Will that make the Dallas Mavericks like give away Jason Kidd or let Jason Kidd go before the contract's over? No, not at all. Unless something really bad happens, like
he'd
we
have
had
to
Rick
resign
Carlisle.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, like Rick Carlisle pretty much quit in the middle of the contract. We're like,
Oh yeah.
okay, right.
So-
So no.
Wait, so Marcel, if let's just say, completely hypothetically, one day Jason Kidd wakes up and says he does want to go to the Knicks, how much would it cost to make that trade for the Knicks?
Well, I know you don't have any first-round picks. So.
We have multiple first-round picks, actually. They're mainly swaps, but we have two.
mainly swaps.
We
Look,
have
all right,
two,
give me
and
a
one of
fir-
them's going to be a conditional that's going to turn into 2 seconds, but it's all right.
Give me a first-round pick and Josh Hart, and me, I'd be cool with it. I'd be cool with it.
That's expensive. That's
Exactly.
expensive.
I know it is. I know it is.
Yeah,
That's
we
what I
don't
want,
need
though.
Jason Kidd that bad. We
What are you
don't
gonna give
need
me?
Jason
Deuce
Kidd that bad.
McBride in a second-round pick? I'm like, no. What?
Deuce alone is way too much.
So the last time it happened, it was Jason Kidd for 2 seconds. I'm hearing that floated around. I don't think that would get it done. I think it would have to be a first-round pick. I think that's what
Doc
feels
got
good
traded
for
for
both
a
sides.
first.
Yeah,
A first
Doc
round pick.
Rivers, Mr. 2008, because that's the last
Doc
time he was
Rivers
ever a good
is
coach.
Trash. You know you're a bad NBA head coach when you are not one of the top 2 coaches in the league, and the Knicks don't try to interview you.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're
How
bad.
does he keep getting jobs?
Because he's not the name. It's the name. It's the fact that he went from a team that won a championship because they had by far the most talent on on any roster. And on top of that, there's also the key factor that he was on the most fun team to watch throughout the early 2010s. Basketball in general was an awesome time. Like people, dude, that was when I became a basketball fan. So obviously, whenever you're new into anything, you have nostalgia. Like I have nostalgia for the UFC 4 years ago when I got into that. I have nostalgia for Quincy Enunwa on the New York Jets because that's when I really started getting to the Jets. They were terrible then. Like guys like Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker on the Jets that one year when they went 7-9 and Jets fans look back on that year like we won the Super Bowl. Like to me, that was my first year that I was a diehard Jets fan, and I was like, dude, that team right there, it's that Vince McMahon meme of him like, no, I can't talk about it. Like that's how Jets fans feel about Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker. That's the first Jets team that I was like locked in on. So you get this nostalgia for that time, but that Clippers team was fun, and because of that, it just kept getting Doc jobs.
It really did, but it's
Also, he's a former player. It's easier if you're a former player. It just is. Like, you get a bit more
What
leeway.
did Doc Rivers do as a player? I know he played. You can't
Dude,
even tell me what he did.
I saw
He
some
was a
clips
point
about
guard
him
on the
today.
Knicks.
It was when the 3-point line was first introduced, and every time he took a shot, they're like, "What is he doing? Why is he shooting a 3?"
He's shooting a 3.
They were wide open threes.
that man will be a great coach one day.
They're like, he'll be a good coach. He's taking shots. Nick should get the Villanova coach. That's Jay Wright. Jay Wright's already
Jay
said he's
Wright.
happy being retired.
Yeah, but
Also,
I think
he's old and a college coach. It's not going to work.
I think Malone would be a good coach for the Knicks.
I think Malone is too similar to Tibbs, except he's the offensive version, so he's better. But the minutes
Sure,
thing
yeah,
scares me.
but also he has a lot of passion, and that can get players.
He's
like
also a
Ralph.
New Yorker. He is a New Yorker.
There you go. It makes sense.
His dad was, I don't ever think a head coach, but Brendan Malone was involved with the Knicks heavily.
Get Mike
Certainly an
Malone.
assistant with the Knicks. I don't hate Mike Malone. I wouldn't hate it. I'd be worried about the minutes.
Or Coach Bud. Coach Bud knows he ain't bad.
No. I don't. I'm not a fan personally. I'm not a
What-
big Bud guy.
What about
I
Taylor?
want Johnny Bryant.
Why?
What
Why?
about Taylor Jenkins?
Hell no. I'm sorry if I'm cursing, but no.
No, you can say hell.
Yeah, he definitely.
Hey,
So
dog.
you came on the stream after the Luka trade, and
and
then
absolutely took. Knicks Digest needs a different rating after that stream.
Yeah, you rewrote the book on that, and then Ben joins the stream after. He's like, "Good job telling Marcel he could say whatever." I was like, "Dude, it was a moment in time. I was out before then. The White Claws were flowing. I'm not gonna censor Marcel. I've seen."
That
when
was
you're
better
agitated-
uncensored. That was so much better uncensored.
Like, that was also my reasoning when you're like, "Can I curse?" I was like, "I don't want to throw you off your game. Unleash," because that was by far the greatest moment in Knicks Digest history.
It was old. It was late. Kids weren't watching.
It was
Yeah,
old.
I mean, look, shout
that's
out to
not what I
Ben.
meant to say.
Shout out to our boss Ben, but he's known me long enough where it's like if
way
I
longer than
ask,
us.
he knows if I ask, can I say what I want? You better restrict me.
He's got
really
something to
what I
say.
want.
He's not asking for no reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm asking because I'm
I
not
didn't
going to
care.
apologize. But anyway, so Taylor
Defense
Jenkins
man,
is a
sorry.
hard no because I think he's the reason why the Grizzlies were very underwhelming this year.
They also
The
disappointed
coach-
in the playoffs every single year.
Yeah, but it
worries me.
totally put it into Taylor Jenkins. Now the assistant head coach, who is now the head coach of the Grizzlies, is about to make that team scary. People don't realize it. If you know, you know. The head coach of the Grizzlies now, can't remember his name. He's from Europe. I don't want to disrespect him.
Salio, I'm pronouncing it wrong.
Yeah, something like that. But
It's two I's to begin the name. Sorry.
He's known for the offense that they ran for a good part of the year that worked, that led to winning. Taylor Jenkins, whether he wanted credit for it or he just didn't like it, said, nope, we're going back to the way that we did things. And even John Morant said, I don't know. We changed our ways, and now it's just I don't know. Like it was, the players know. The players know. So this upcoming season, I expect the Grizzlies to be a top team in the West purely because they have a much better head coach. Taylor Jenkins, sure. If you want the team to look like the Grizzlies from last year, go right ahead.
No,
Okay,
the Grizzlies
so-
got to stay healthy. They got to stay healthy.
Well, yeah, of course, that's very important. But we've also
OKC
seen,
Thunder
oddly enough,
fan post something.
Yeah, I know what you're
we've
gonna
seen
say.
the Grizzlies play very well without Ja.
Dude, Loki,
Yeah.
Ja's taking the mantle over Halliburton as the most overrated player in the league.
Bro, I get filled with rage, unbridled rage when I see people seriously say that Halliburton is overrated. How?
He's led to too much winning that I can't say. I was a hater. He
No,
he wins.
No,
devil
right now
magic
I'm seeing
helps, but-
people asking if he's a superstar or the face of the NBA. I'm like, pump the brakes on that.
No, it's
Pump the brakes on that.
Well, it's
No,
LeBron,
I wouldn't
but-
say that either. Now, if you think that, then sure, I'm gonna say he's overrated. But I think he's a very good player. He's a young player who's having a very good stretch of seasons. Last season, this season, he's on that trajectory. He's doing well. But I'm a take over the stream. We're gonna touch on a different topic, right? Speaking of overrated, face of the league, all that good stuff. The problem with the NBA has today is that they care more about the optics and the storylines and how can we orchestrate some of the best basketball conversations possible versus allowing things to be organic. And I'm gonna
Started with
start.
Derrick Rose.
I got a storyline for you.
But I'm gonna start with this one. I'm gonna say Anthony Edwards. I truly do believe that Anthony Edwards can be the face of the NBA. But once you put that Michael Jordan tag on him and he fails, now you think he's overrated. Now you think he's trash, right? I don't like how anytime a player is doing really well where they can be the face of the league or they're just succeeding, Michael Jordan. Now, obviously, there were other reasons they were comparing the play style, the way they looked, the attitude, cool. But you can't do that. Why can't you just accept that that's Anthony Edwards? The first ever Anthony Edwards. He can be
Yeah.
the face of the league. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so weird how they do that. And then Halliburton, he's overrated. How is he overrated? Is he the best player on a trash team that can never win? Or is he a very good player, not the best, but he's a very good player on a team that's winning and about to win a finals? Where is like these narratives and talking points are what hurts the NBA, which makes it really hard for people that have watched it for years like myself take anything that these pundits' opinions are saying. Like, I don't like, it holds no weight to me. Watching Stephen A. Smith, I used to look up to Stephen A. Smith. Used to look up to him. I partly am doing this because as a small child, I saw that and I want to do that, right? But even now, it's like, why is everything such a controversial talking point where you're not talking about the game, you're talking about something that really doesn't matter to the game?
The answer that sucks is because ESPN is turning into clickbait. That's why they're firing good people and they're bringing in Pat McAfee, who, very entertaining, somewhat knowledgeable. That's why they pay Stephen A. Smith so much money. Very entertaining, somewhat knowledgeable.
He's good with basketball history. That's Stephen A. Smith's thing more than anything. Is basketball.
Why
history.
does Kendrick Perkins have a job?
Because he hypes up the
He's
Knicks
funny.
every chance he gets.
And
That's
he's
why he
just
has a job.
funny. He's the biggest person in human history.
I'm funny. Hire me.
Whoa, Chris. That's
I'm not
actually
gonna
actually
disagree.
That's Brian Windhorst, Chris.
Oh yeah, Brian Windhorst is the biggest.
Marcel, how heavy do you think Brian Windhorst is?
This was insane.
I don't know. How heavy do you think that the Titanic was? Like, the man's just inflated. Like, he's not big, he's not fat, he's inflated. Just big. You know what I'm saying? It's like he's holding his breath.
Dude. Okay. All right. It's almost 7:30, and we have not mentioned KD or Giannis once.
Okay, very quickly before we get into that, OKC Thunder fan mentioned, why don't the Knicks hire Johnny Bryant and have Mike Brown the assistant coach? I will tell you right now, I love that. I'm also wearing shorts. These are not underwear. I need to make it very clear they are shorts.
He lying. That boy in his drawers. He got baggy drawers.
No, I haven't recorded a video in my underwear since, actually, like, yesterday. So that's not a good example.
I'm always in my underwear when I'm on camera. You're not going to see, so.
I've done it maybe a good 5 times.
That's
for my
kind of
live
crazy
streams, though, because I get up and run around and go crazy. I can't be doing that. But.
Dude, I was under the impression that Marcel didn't have legs, so that's actually crazy.
This streaming chair is also a wheelchair.
I thought you were like a centaur. You were just never half, and that's it.
Oh yeah, I'm glued to my computer desk. I'm just always at the desk because I'm just here. But as far as KD, Giannis, look, the way that the CBA set up, it really does punish you for overpaying for a player. And I hate using the word overpay, but giving supermaxes and max contracts, like it punishes you. It's hard to keep a team together. If you look, I want to say over the last 6-7 years, we've had a different NBA champion.
Yeah, 7.
Whenever a team wins, players' value goes up. They get paid, they leave, and then a new team wins. Right? We saw with the Nuggets after they won. They couldn't keep KCP. They couldn't keep Bruce Brown. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just found out today Russell Westbrook is going to be a free agent. I don't think that matters. But with the new CBA, the way that the NBA is set up now, going after these players like Kevin Durant, Jimmy Butler, 37 years old on a $100 million contract, right? Even Giannis, it's not beneficial to do that. Because what would the Knicks give up for KD and or Giannis?
It would have to be Karl-Anthony Towns would have to be part of it.
Just traded for him. And I'd argue you get more out of Cat because he's not 37.
I agree.
Yeah, the problem is Kevin Durant, 37 years old, is looking for a monster contract. He's not a Knick, so if he did join the Knicks, he wouldn't cut us any slack. He would pay whatever he can get paid, he would get paid. He doesn't play good enough defense. I'm worried about the amount of defense that the entire team would play with Kevin Durant. I mean, and whatever you got to trade away to pick him up on what's already a team that's too shallow, probably too shallow to beat the Pacers, unless the Pacers get hurt / unlucky, which is not going to happen because they're the luckiest team we've ever seen. So I'm not in on KD, although Giannis, completely different story.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Kevin Durant being 37, the fact that he makes $50 million a year, so like you have to include Cat, which is, in my opinion, I find it very funny and foolish when a team trades for a big name player just to trade him next season. Like, that's crazy to me. You obviously had a vision when you got him, and you were quick to just give up on that vision. And like I said, I know you have a small window to really try to win now in New York, but that is not the route you want to go. No matter how good people think Kevin Durant is, that's not the right route. Yeah. Phoenix is in hell.
I would be worried about becoming the next Phoenix if we did that.
Exactly.
That's what I'm scared about.
Exactly. And so that's why most teams should stay away. I'm not sure how true this is because rumors fly every day. But I saw that the Spurs are actually not interested in Kevin Durant. So he may go to Houston if they're dumb enough.
My pick is Houston. I think the best fit for him is the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah.
And Julius Randle.
Most definitely. But will it happen?
That's what I said. Chris. All right, I'm hearing from the national media is telling me that the Knicks are in on Kevin Durant. The local media is telling me the Knicks are out on Kevin Durant. What are you hearing?
From everything I know, the Knicks are not trading for Kevin Durant.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, I saw
they don't have interest.
I saw on ESPN today, y'all were like one of the 5 teams interested, but I'm like,
they understand they'd have to trade a mix of Mitchell Robinson and OG for Kevin Durant or trade Towns. Neither trade makes any sense. And guys, also shout out to who's not sponsoring us, but one day will, White Claw. They came out with grape flavored White Claw.
How is that?
We're about to try it because we've been drinking the black cherry.
Wow. Had to get the grape flavor while I'm on stream. That's kind of crazy.
Yep, Marcel, it was purely a race thing.
What do you mean race? Why are you
to
bringing
raise
up
things.
race? Why you gotta?
Because
Why you gotta bring it up, bro? Just like the other day talking about painting nails, bro. Like, why you always gotta like make things weirder than what they are?
I see what you're trying to do, Marcel.
I really don't know what you're talking about. We're not gonna touch on that. But Giannis, though. Giannis.
Marcel, you said it doesn't make sense to you to trade for one player and then trade him away. Could you waive that way of thinking if Cat was part of a Giannis trade for the Knicks? To me, you took one step up the ladder with Cat from where we were, then you could take another step up. So it just sounds like an upgrade to me.
You give up shooting, you give up spacing, you're changing a lot of your identity with if you trade Cat for Giannis. Two big men that play in polar opposites.
Yeah.
Right. And you still need a head coach that can make it work.
I would do it in 5 seconds personally.
Budenholzer is out there. I know we hate him, but he's out there.
You would also have to get his brother Thanasis, because apparently Giannis doesn't know how to play basketball unless his brother's around.
Well, we drafted Thanasis, so that's perfect. We'll bring him back.
Sure,
So.
reunion, do it. But I mean, yes, I feel like a lot of people would say that Giannis for Cat do it in a heartbeat. Sure, I hope you know how to use Giannis. Not saying that the Bucks don't, but who knows? But good luck, I guess.
No, you're right, because we're in a new NBA era where it's not about a big three or a one guy winning the whole thing. You got to have a whole team. That's why two of arguably the two deepest teams in basketball are in the finals right now.
In the finals right now.
The Pacers, their star player is maybe a top 10 player. I don't even know how high you look. Clutch, number one right now.
Clutch,
hands down.
Player.
Clutch as they get. But top 10 players, the thing about the Pacers is their ninth guy is the best ninth guy in the league. Their eighth guy, maybe the best eighth guy in the league.
Yeah.
And then Siakam, one of the most underrated stars in the league. I'm honestly not fully convinced that Halliburton is better than Siakam, although I'm taking Halliburton first.
And see, that's the thing. Like, who's the best player on the team? Because
we saw who won the ECF Finals MVP.
You know, well, that was funny because anyway, for a team like the Pacers, it doesn't matter who's the best player because to them, they're the best team. They all think they're the best team, so it doesn't matter who's the best player.
That's part of it why I can't stand that the Halliburton's a superstar, because we didn't lose to Halliburton. That's why when we got eliminated by the Knicks, we hated Trae Young. We played against the 76ers, we hated Joel Embiid. He deserved it a lot more. But I don't hate Halliburton because we didn't lose to Halliburton. We lost to the Pacers. Their whole team was fantastic. They ran really hard. They played really hard. They were really deep, and they're up against another really deep team. And it sucks to say this because they beat us, but I struggle to see how this finals isn't good for the NBA.
Anybody who says that is just biased and probably a Twitter troll. If anybody in real life is walking around on major platforms saying that this is a bad finals, this isn't good for NBA, I saw something how game one had some of the lowest ratings ever. It's like, okay, cool. People's favorite teams aren't in the NBA. And no offense to the players that are in the NBA, although SGA won MVP, I'd argue that only Thunder fans like SGA at this point, it feels like, right? Like, you don't have a universally loved player in the finals that everybody wants to see, right? Say what you want, but like LeBron, Steph Curry, even KD, I don't know if put James Harden in that, but Jokic, right? Like, certain players that just everybody wants to see is in the finals. So unfortunately, you have Pacer Nation, which is all of Indiana, and then you got all of Oklahoma, two states that just have a lot of cornfield and open land, right? So it's not attractive locations. It's not the face of the league isn't in the finals. So whenever I see this talk about low finals ratings and it's bad for the NBA, it's like, no, parity is great for the NBA. It's good. When the Warriors were dominating, when it was literally just LeBron and the Warriors every year. If you were not a Warriors or LeBron fan, it sucked to be you. But at least you could watch an amazing finals, though. Your team ain't never going to be there, but you're watching something great. You could argue that's the same when Michael Jordan was winning 2 3-peats back-to-back. You're watching the best player on the planet win over and over and over again. Everybody wanted to watch that, right? But right now in the modern NBA, parity is what's most important because it paints a better picture of how good the NBA is. That we're not led by one person that carries the whole league. No, we have many teams, many coaches, many different styles, many different players from all over that can win the right way.
Wait, I just want to say one thing to the chat. LB So Wavy said, He's not forcing himself to watch the finals. And I'm not saying that like you should be watching the finals or enjoying it more because it's teams that aren't usually there. I'm saying the way that these teams got here was by building really deep teams, and that's so different from the type of teams. I don't care about the small markets. I care about the type of team that made it. They didn't just go out. Yes, one team has the MVP of the league, but they didn't just go out and get the best player they could find. Tyrese Halliburton is the best guy on the team, and his team is winning right now. So it's the depth of teams, and they're using that depth in the playoffs to run other teams off the floor. And I love seeing team efforts.
Yeah, it's just good basketball. And no offense to anybody in the chat or anybody that may take offense. No offense meant. But if you're just a fan of a team, I can see why you don't care. Or if you're just a fan of a player, I can see why you don't care. Me, I'm a fan of the game of basketball. And game 3, watching the final few minutes, I'm yelling, screaming in my apartment. I'm yelling, Rick, bring it home, Rick! Bring it home, Rick! Yeah, like, obviously, as a Mavs fan, I'm always going to root for Rick Carlisle regardless. But, like, it's just good basketball. I'm a fan of the game, and I like watching good basketball. And I saw LB So Wavy mentioned Denver, Miami. During that finals, I watched every game, and I said, this is great basketball. The Miami Heat, who made the finals, is what, the 8th seed?
Yeah.
What? Like,
and
that's
they
crazy.
earned it. They earned that, too.
They fought for that. You're
the
right.
only game they lost to the 1 seed Bucks is when Giannis wasn't playing too, so it was sort of a fluke loss.
Yeah,
and then Matt and I were at a gala and watched the Knicks get a
they made it there and they earned it, right? Like the only time I'd argue in recent memory, and I have to double check, but the top of my head, the only time I thought a team overachieved and did not belong where they went was when the Hawks played, or when the Hawks made it to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Bucks. I was like, you don't belong here at all.
What about last year with the Pacers? Because I would argue they didn't belong against the Celtics either.
Yeah, like the first team they played, I forget who was injured. The Knicks had 7 injuries.
The first team they played, Giannis and Dame, or it was Giannis, wasn't?
Yeah, it was Dame.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Giannis who was injured that first.
It was Giannis who was injured.
Yeah, it was definitely. Giannis games 1 and 2, and those Dame the rest of the way. Yeah, that's
you can say that about last year, but they followed it up this year. The thing is, the Hawks made the Eastern Conference Finals and just
they didn't follow it up. They didn't follow up. This team's completely different. This is a completely different Pacers team.
It's different. Okay, it is a different team, but they didn't succeed as much last year.
What they're doing this year does not prove that last year wasn't a fluke, is my argument. Last year,
how different are they? How different are they between this year and last year?
They're playing they're a better team this year. I mean, they're not that different. I understand the personnel is very similar, but this team is 10 times better than they were last year. This Knicks team would have swept the Pacers last year, and then this year they lost a couple games fair and square. Game 1 sucked.
My argument is the Pacers, from what I see, they are the same team. They just got better. Players are playing better. I can't think of a player that they added or traded away that fixed things. They didn't get a new coach. It's still Rick Carlisle. He's not changing up anything, really. If anything, the players are just getting better, and maybe there are some adjustments, and maybe there are some changes that now work this year versus last year. But I get what you're saying, Matt. But I don't know. I just feel
so last year you're standing on not a fluke.
Not a fluke, no, because I forgot when during the season. During the regular season last year, the Indiana Pacers, for a long stretch of games, had the best offense in NBA history by the numbers.
So what? You got to play defense to win the finals.
Of course.
To win in the playoffs.
Of course. And what do you think they're doing? Have you seen the stats on SGA?
They're playing defense now. No, all I'm saying is last year they were bad and did not deserve what they got. This year they are 1,000
has anything to do with that?
What?
Do you think inexperience had anything to do with that? Because they were a young team last year. The one player that on their team that is the most seasoned as far as playoff success is Pascal.
Yeah, it might have. I mean, the only point I'm trying to make is last year was a fluke. This year it's as legit as possible. Like this year it's like last year or when the Boston Celtics won and everyone was saying, "Oh, they beat injured teams," but then everyone looks at it and goes, "They were so much better than those teams. They crush them anyway." So that's what I'm saying. The Pacers. I think the Pacers would have ran the first 2 rounds against fully healthy teams because they were that much better this season. ever since they got, I think it was Nembhard back from injury, that one of the best records in basketball since that moment. So they were pretty much a 1 seed hiding, masquerading as a 4 seed.
Look, Nembhard is locking down SGA, owns him. You might think Nembhard is actually Pete. I'm sorry, not Nembhard. Is it Nembhard or is it Ben?
You're thinking Nesmith.
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 Look. There's so many players. There's so many players.
There's a lot.
They're just so deep. No,
they're so deep. They have so many guys.
Yeah, people think Aaron Nesmith is really PJ Washington the way he locks down the Thunder, man. Look.
Dude, I think Nesmith might be like not even Steph Curry because Curry isn't clutch enough. Nesmith is actually that 137-point quarter Clay. That's who Nesmith is.
Yeah. And that just again it goes. I mean, you have to give the Pacers from top to bottom credit, like drafting these players, trading for certain players, keeping players around. There was always talks about Miles Turner. I think earlier in the season this year, is Miles Turner coming back? Are they going to trade him? Like a lot of people were telling me, they're going to trade him. I'm sitting here like, for who? He's their center. Like,
there has been Miles Turner trade talks for almost a decade. Like
Miles
since
Turner
he got to the
trade
league.
talks started when Matt and I started college.
And the thing is, it's just like Walker Kessler. It's like everyone wants a rim protecting center. So why would you give one up when you have him? And not only is he a rim protector, he's a stretch 5. He's actually he's a little skinny, but he's a little, he's not super physical, but he's exactly what you're looking for out of your center.
Yeah, no, that team's really good, coached very well. They're deep. They know what they're doing. And to just wrap up the topic of parity in the NBA. And again, I shout out to LB So Wavy for being in the chat. I've been reading his messages. He said, you could be the biggest basketball savant out there. It's okay to say that this finals is not aesthetically pleasing. You gain cool points from watching the finals. I don't care about cool points. I like watching good basketball. And and for me though, and again, I could just be different. I don't care about aesthetics. Are there good teams in the finals? Because when Denver was playing Miami, everybody was like, it should have been LA versus Boston. Well, why didn't they make it there? They're obviously not good.
I'm the exact same way with football. Like, it's like, with the tush push, people wanted to ban that because it looked bad. And I'm like, I don't care if I have to watch the worst football ever. If I'm watching the Jets win, I will take it. But I will be completely honest. I have watched like 3 halves. I've watched half of the final so far. I'm not even really watching it. I'm just saying the shift in team roster building strategy from what we saw a couple years ago, from just get a star to now build a team, it's better for the NBA. I know it's less fun to watch. It's less fun for me to watch too. But it's better for the NBA.
I love it. And maybe I'm just a little bit biased because my man Rick is about to bring it on home. But the way he got that team running like a well-oiled machine, and I'm not saying they're perfect. Miles Turner didn't have the best offensive night, but I think he had like 5 blocks game 3, right? He had my man off the bench, Ben off the bench, torching him. Man, I looked it up like, man, he's making $7 million a year playing like this. Crazy, right? So, I mean, I think this is great for the NBA. Eventually we'll see another dynasty. It will happen.
Yeah,
we'll see.
It always will.
Yeah.
Well, and we know where it's coming from.
Yeah, it's the Knicks.
Dallas.
The Knicks are
because Cooper on the way.
It's coming from maybe OKC. They can start it this year if they want.
Nah, it's the Knicks.
San Antonio Spurs.
Well, look. If I'm being honest, not even trying to be a hater, the problem with the Thunder is they got a lot of good players who will
money.
Get
Second apron.
Yeah.
Are they over it right now?
SGA.
No, they're good right now.
No, they're good right now.
Don't they have
SGA,
everyone on the contract for like 3 years?
They have a bit more time, but it's going to start adding up fast.
They're going to start having to cut from the bottom though. Like they're not going to like Chet, SGA, and Jay Will are probably like the safest of the 3.
But like, also at this rate, what we're seeing is, and I hate to be that guy, I have no ill will towards him, but Chet, as of right now, is going to get paid more money than what he's doing on the court. He's going to get overpaid because the just factor of he's Chet Holmgren.
It's not Chet Holmgren. It's the factor is he will. Wait, are you yes or no? Are you saying he doesn't deserve the money that he's going to get?
Well, how much are we saying?
Or wait, one of two things. Are you saying he doesn't deserve the money he's getting, or you're saying they are paying for future production that they're not currently getting?
I think they're going to
because you got to be very careful here.
I think they're going to be paying for future production that they might never get.
Okay, so you just said both. You said both.
Yeah.
Let's compare.
As of right now, he could easily break out. I like Chet a lot.
Chet was drafted the same year as Benedict Mathurin.
I mean, also look at Huevos Rancheros. He's killing it.
You got Paolo Banchero. He went number 1. Chet went number 2, right? And then you have
Jabari Smith was 3. I don't know after that.
Jabari Smith. And you got Keegan Murray, Jaden Ivey, Benedict Mathurin, Sharp, Dyson Daniels at 8.
Whoa. None of those guys were a super high ceiling player who needed to put on a lot of weight. Chet Holmgren's not a finished product.
Right.
Chet Holmgren's going to be a monster.
Those players that didn't go number 2, like Chet did, were not seen as that level of Chet. And I think, of course, he was injured his rookie year. Of course, he's not the number 1 on his team, so we're not going to see max dollar production because that's coming from SGA. Like, I get that. I do. But there is a level of expectation.
We're watching this.
Wait a second. So, Marcel, would you take any of those players today over Chet Holmgren? Like for the
it depends on what I have. It depends on what I have. Like, I'm not trying to say they're better than Chet, but if I'm thinking long term.
Let's say,
if I'm thinking long term, because Chet in college was amazing, and of course,
I'm saying who do you think is going to be better? Who's going to have a better career? Chet, Benedict Mathurin,
individually,
Dyson Daniels, or anyone else in that draft? Chet or other than Paul?
That's hard to say. Dyson's on the Hawks. They're not going anywhere. But Dyson's a better defender. Ben's a better scorer.
Who's a better player? Who's a better player? Whatever your definition is, who's a better player? Who's going to be a better player?
Iguodala. Okay, no. I don't know. It's a weird situation, and I think me and Chris see where it's going. It's like Chet's good. He's good. You might get overpaid though, and it could bite your whole team in the ass. Really, like if
Dude.
I don't know.
I think Chet is going to be a superstar. Again,
he is playing with SGA. He's the number 1. He's their best or top scorer, right? I'm not saying that Chet's bad because of the numbers that I see, but if you're playing alongside SGA and you're not the focal point of the offense, if you're not the number 1, why am I throwing all this money your way? When Derek Lively's better than you, I'm just saying, bro. Like, I saw it last year. I saw it this year. It is what it is.
Chris, who'd you rather take for your future, Derek Lively or Chet Holmgren?
It's tough right now. I'm biased towards Chet because what could happen? Like, what could happen with Chet could be so good. But right now, we haven't seen it.
Lively already is so good.
I'm going to take Lively.
I know you're taking Marcel.
Hold on. I'm going to say this, though. I'm going to take Lively because if Lively has a bad night, I'm fine. What happens if Chet has a bad night? Can SGA still win a game? Or win a series?
Well, we're forgetting about the number 2, Jalen Williams.
Oh, yeah, he's good. But if Chet has a bad night, what do you do with Chet?
Also, Marcel, real
quick,
put him on the bench. I'm going to need you to check Zoom. Someone heard about what's being talked about right now for the end of the stream.
He going to wait till I say what I want to say. He going to wait till I say what I want to say.
I'm going to go again.
If Chet has a bad night, I guess it's, in all reality, it boils down to who are you relying on more? Are you relying more on Lively in games or Chet? You're relying more on Chet. And if he has an off night, what do? If Lively has an off night, cool. Gafford, go in there. Cool. I'm fine.
Dude, Hartenstein? Just throw Hartenstein in there. Dude, Chet is going to develop into a rim protector who is going to be able to hit threes.
It's still early for Chet.
I'm telling you, I have said this on the stream before. He needs to forget about, a healthy bulk. He got to start drinking milkshakes in the offseason.
Yeah. He needs to
Marcel, let him in. Let him in.
Whatever needs to happen. Okay.
Let him in. We're going to the quad. We're going to the quad feed.
Hey, I heard it's OKC and 6, baby. OKC and 6. I don't know how to put my camera here. We in here. We inside. All right. It's about to be insane. I can't hear you guys. I'm giving you my professional opinion. I don't care about no Haliban. I don't care about no Devil Magic. All right. Haliban, auto ban. He still has me banned, blocked on Twitter. Don't matter. Thunder and 6, baby. Thunder and 6. Thunder and 6. Marcel, you look like Matt from Wii. Chris, I love you. Who else is on with us right now?
It's Matt.
I can't hear you guys. Who else is on?
It's Matt. Matt is on with us.
I'm checking. Matt, you handsome as hell, dude. You handsome as hell.
Bryson.
Right?
Bryson.
I don't like you. I love you, but I don't like you. Go box someone, Matt from We Boxing.
Bryson.
We're about to be neighbors, and he's going.
And
Look,
there he goes.
Look, Bryson's about to be my neighbor, so he better watch it. He's about to be
He's
in
about to
Dallas.
be your neighbor.
Yeah, so he's
He's
got a
moving
nice
to
little job.
Dallas.
Yeah, he's got a nice little job opportunity out in Dallas. So
Oh, good for Bryson.
hopefully
Shout
he gets
out
it. I
Bryson.
think he's on like the next step of interviews. So if he gets it, he'll be coming out this way. So me and him will be hanging out.
I was trying to get him to. I was trying to get the conversation going, but he couldn't hear. He's inside Paycom doing his thing.
That
right
is
now.
awesome.
Man, I was about to say so much smack. I'm like, dang, you went all the way to Indiana to watch. No, he's in Oklahoma. Doing a.
He
Never mind.
lives. He
It's
lives
not that
in
far.
Oklahoma.
I
Something
forgot.
like
I thought
this
he
close,
flew to Indiana. I'm like, wow, you flew all the way there to watch your team lose? Crazy, but I guess that's good for him.
No, he's not in Boston anymore.
But anyway, he just sent a message in our chat. What did he say? He said, just flame Marcel Knicks Digest. Calm down, child. Anyway, the Thunder. Anyway, Chet's good. I do think it's too early to really give my honest opinion. It depends on what happens next because they play very well. They play very well as a team. They're very talented. The money will dry up. The way the CBA is, the money will dry up. Some of those role players
It's
might get a
preventing this
payday.
exact thing too.
Yeah, and
It's great. The CBA is good.
Like what, $20 million per year? They just gave Caruso a
but
nice
Caruso won't be there long.
contract.
But Caruso's
Yeah, they
not
can
gonna
move him for sure.
I'd argue that after his contract, they just either trade him or let him walk, honestly.
Well, that extension
Because
kicks
by
in
then,
next
other
year.
players will have progressed. Other players will have developed. Like, okay, you don't need Caruso.
The
Aaron
extension
Wiggins is
kicks
one of
in
their
next
role
year.
players. Well, I mean, I know Aaron Wiggins is one of their role players who they talk about. Kason Wallace, right? Like they have depth. Some of the older players, whenever they're done, they're done. But when it comes to Chet, and I was telling him, I was telling Matt this earlier, Chris, that who am I more dependent on, Lively or Chet?
I mean,
Lively is a better defender.
right now, Derek Lively's better. Today, if we're talking today, Friday, June 13th,
He just doesn't shoot.
7:53 p.m.
And he
Eastern.
doesn't shoot because we don't have him shooting. But
He can.
we know he can. He hit a 3 in the finals, and we were like, what? Why don't we do that more? But I like Derek Lively mainly just because
I
I'm a
love
defense
Lively.
first person. I'm a defense first person, and watching that man play is amazing.
Lively's a modern center waiting to be
Yes.
fully unleashed.
Yes, he just needs to put on more weight. But yes, he's like a modern NBA center.
I mean,
He's
also
just
Lively
more to
is young. Like he's a very
He just
young
turned 21.
dude.
He just turned
exactly.
21.
It's
So-
tough to be a pure center at that point. No matter who you are, it's very difficult unless you're built coming into the league like DeAndre Ayton, albeit that didn't work. But you have to be built that way. You have to be. Like, think about all the great big men. So many of them started power. Like, just in this modern era. Anthony Davis, Karl-Anthony Towns, who still has to play power forward because he doesn't
Giannis.
like being a big man. Giannis.
Power
Power forward. Now
Like
at some
all
points, he's a small forward
Lively
even.
has to do, all Lively
on,
has to
Malwatch.
put on weight because Lively is amazing in the pick and roll. Him and Gafford led the league several times throughout the season. I'm not sure if it was for the full season, but several times led the league and at rim defense, right? Altering shots at the rim. They were 1 and 2. Also, field goal percentage at rim 1 and 2. They're very important to us. But if Derek Lively has a bad game, I got Gafford. I also got AD. If we bring back Kai Jones, I got Kai Jones. The Mavericks have a lot of big men. That's our problem. We have no guards. But someone like Chet, he's so important to winning that unless we really do see like another leap from him, it's kind of like we're paying to keep you. And that's it. And you know what happens when you pay to keep a player? You get in trouble with the salary cap. I mean, a player that just comes straight to mind. Anthony Simons, at age 23, signed a 4-year, $100 million contract. Anthony Simons. Why did Portland do that? Oh, they did that to keep him.
Yeah.
So what? The team's terrible.
Sixth man.
The
Yeah,
team's
they're
terrible.
horrible. But you pay to keep them. Can't do much with them.
Should they have done something else with him? Should they have let him walk?
They should
They
trade
should.
him.
They
If
should trade
he
him.
wouldn't take a reasonable contract, trade him.
Yeah, it's harder now.
Especially when they did that well, let's rewind it because they did that after they traded away CJ McCollum, which I thought was stupid at the time. That I was like, what? He is literally the reason why y'all are doing well. It's him and Dame. That's your 1 and 2.
I love
What?
that trade as a Knicks fan. Love it so much.
As a Knicks fan, sure. As a basketball fan, I thought it was stupid. Like, and then I knew I was like, Dame's not staying for this. You got Scoot Henderson, Dame ain't staying for this. Hell no. What?
Hey,
Dude,
that's Josh Hart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Or are we worried about, obviously, like, our fandoms aren't, but should we be worried about Scoot Henderson panning out in the NBA?
No.
At this point, it's clear he's not going to be what he could have been, which kills me because, and the fact that I'm going to say this I've said actually way worse things to the internet in the past. I've said truly embarrassing things about my life. This is just one of the worst takes I've ever had. I said to my brother once, we were just chilling in our living room, I was like, yo, I'm not going to lie. If I'm the Spurs, I'm not going to do it. But part of me would consider taking Scoot or trading a pick down for him because I don't trust Wemby to ever be healthy. I thought Scoot was going to be so good that I thought you could get so much value for just sliding one pick down and letting the Trailblazers shoot themselves in the foot with someone who is now complete NBA superstar.
Cusp of being a bust.
I mean, but Chris, he's hurt. He's an injured NBA superstar.
I don't trust Wemby's health, and I still do. That's why I think they should trade for Kevin Durant. You don't know how long he got with Wemby, but I'll tell you what.
They should trade for Giannis.
I think it's
not
too
going to be
early
good at 33.
It's too early to say that about Wemby.
I just don't trust anyone who's 7'5". It has nothing to do with Wemby. I love Wemby.
No, for
He
sure.
seems
It's
like
a
the
health
best.
thing. It is a health thing, but you definitely want to let it rock. But at the same time, though, I'm looking at the 2023 draft class. Brandon Miller, number 2. Now, he had a bad injury, but
he's good, bro. He's good.
he's
He
the
is
truth.
He's good.
And then you got the
he's
Thompson.
so good that you're considering trading Melo.
Yeah,
Well, they should trade Melo. Brandon Miller's the
They
most
should.
important player on their team now. Melo
Yeah.
can't stay healthy. He's
Absolutely.
tremendous, but he can't stay healthy.
What's crazy about Melo? Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know what y'all think. Well, the thing about Melo is like he's a heliocentric player that's not good at being heliocentric.
Yeah, but he wants to be.
He wants to be, but you're not good at that, though. It's like.
But his whole life has also been that. It's hard to...
Exactly.
And I know that's 95% of players in the NBA, but most of them are not being covered by national media when they're 13 years old.
Exactly.
Like, imagine how much your life would be different if the media followed you around and saying, Marcel Martin, the future of basketball YouTube, the future of Dallas Mavericks coverage. Like, at 13
I'd have
years
the
old...
biggest head in the world. I'd have the
Exactly,
biggest-
dude.
Man, I'm like, shoot, what you know about that? But yeah,
Exactly. There's nothing you could do. It's not even his fault. It's just this...
No.
He's a product of circumstance because his brother and his dad.
But he is a good player, though. He is a good player.
Great.
But
No, he's phenomenal.
In terms of winning, it's different. It's very different. And he also has a health issue. But I think also it's just Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? It's Charlotte.
Yeah, it's Charlotte. I hope they're good. I might do a Hornets rebuild tonight. I might have a few more White Claws.
The
do a
three of us
Hornets
should just
rebuild.
run Hornets Digest. Let's talk to Ben. I don't think we have it yet. Let's just start Hornets Digest.
Ben threatens me on a weekly basis to put me on Hornets. He's like, yeah, we're gonna take you off Knicks Digest to put you on Hornets. And one to me, back when we had like 12K subscribers on Knicks, this was before the playoffs. Threw us a good 3.5K. Shout out to everyone who's watched a single second of Knicks Digest. I really appreciate it, guys. It truly was one of the happiest stretches after my girlfriend and I broke up, so it felt pretty good to have that going for me. So I guess I just said my ex-girlfriend and I. But dude, with Hornets, he's like, yeah, I'll put you on Hornets Digest. I'm like, and I had like Knicks Digest with 12, 13K, and I was like, give me a year. I will pass Knicks Digest with whoever you try to replace me with.
Anytime Ben threatens, because he threatens me in a different way, because he knows I'm like really hyper competitive and weird about my channel. Like I know it's not my channel. I can't just take it and run away, right?
Yeah.
But I treat it like it's my channel.
Oh,
And he threatens me by saying I'm gonna get you a co-host. I'm like, Ben, if you let another person sit in front of this camera on this channel, I will burn this channel to the ground. Start my own channel and lap this channel. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, he tried to get a rando on Knicks Digest, and I was like, I got 17K myself, not myself, but
Yourself. Even yeah. If
I got
Daryl's
17K on
listening,
this
if Daryl's listening, I'm talking all shit. But anyway. But anyway, yeah. So
oh man, Knicks Digest.
nah,
Happy
but
Hour never
but
fails.
on a serious note, I did tell Ben, I was like, if I were to do a different like a second channel, I'd honestly think about doing Trailblazers.
I mean, also at the same time, The three of us could also team up and create the greatest basketball channel.
We could just leave Digest Network.
Well, we could also do Courtside.
Oh, God.
We want to revive. Were you in that meeting? Dude, I was dying. I was in bed, bro.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, I was so hungover because it was 10 in the morning. I was like, dude, are you serious?
I did
10
like
in the
two
morning
videos, and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Because I used to run Courtside, and it drove me crazy. I'm like, this is impossible. The only way that channel will survive or do well is you have to run it different than our other channels. I don't think you can do daily videos. You have to only cover the hottest of topics.
Yeah,
dude, me and Chris have an idea for that. Like I'm telling, if you run it like a morning talk show, where what I would do is I would say, let me host it and let me bring in Digest creators from the other Digest channels when we're talking about their team, one video a day, if that, and then we're done. Because no one's an NBA fan. Like the way there's Mavs fans or Knicks fans, like
it's so much harder to break out.
I think you could absolutely make that work.
Yeah, I think we'd be able to figure it out. Ben wants it to start again. Like when I was in Montreal with Ben and Darius and Josh, shout out to, let's name the channels. We got Raptors Digest and whatever the hell Ben is on right now because he's all over the place. We got New York Rangers Digest, Leafs Digest for the big old Darius Dominguez, and then Josh is on Spurs Digest and a multitude of other channels. So shout out to all them. But they were saying like it would be fun to do Courtside Digest. Me and Ben did one duo video and then never did another one. We just never did it again. And he said to me, he's like, do you want to just make a video every single day for that channel? I was like, dude, I am making it Yankees, Knicks, Jets, sometimes Mets. I'd be working 10 hours a day with also doing recruiting and all the other stuff I do. I cannot.
Dude, I was going to say, if that's taking you 10 hours a day, like there is a problem in your process.
Yeah.
Taking 4 or 5 videos a day, taking 10 hours.
No, like making like 6. If I did Courtside, I'd go up to like 7 to 8 a day, plus doing all the other stuff I do for this company. It's like, it would kill me. Or it won't kill me, it'd just be so much.
Look, shout out to you guys. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Matt, because y'all do such good work on this network. And all I do is Mavericks. You can't put more on my plate. Sorry.
You can't.
Can't put more. Nope. My day job keeps me busy.
Yeah.
Like
this is my day job, so.
Look, not to get too much into it because we're still on live. I would love to do this full time.
And we're gonna go offline in a minute and a half. In a minute and a half, we're gonna hit the hay here. But yeah, look, the Knicks, I'll say it right now, I would love if they brought on Mike Brown as an assistant coach. Yeah. That's what I think is the best scenario for them, is to bring on Mike Brown as an assistant coach and bring in Johnny Bryant as the head coach of the team. You bring in a first-time head coach who's got a lot of good rapport around the league. He's a guy who loves court spacing and European-style basketball. The Knicks just tried to hire Quinn Snyder from the Hawks, or at least tried to interview Quinn Snyder from the Hawks. Quinn Snyder's style is exactly that. So I think that style fits the Knicks perfectly. Ball movement, transition, teamwork. I think it's offensively based. I think it fits the Knicks well. Johnny Bryant coaches a similar style, loves the idea of spacing. And on top of that, you bring in a guy like a Mike Brown onto this team. Or you could bring in a more defensive-minded guy as the lead assistant coach. But you bring in a guy who has been a head coach before. So Johnny Bryant has someone to lean on when it's like, no matter what it is about head coaching, being the head coach of a team is so different. I mean, all the Knicks assistant coaches, you don't really see the Knicks assistant coaches going out there. Rick Brunson's a little different because his last name, but and you know who he's related to. But outside of that, like the Dice Yoshimotos, the Andy Greers, the Mo Cheeks, the Mark Bryants of the world, you don't see them ever doing interviews. Johnny Bryant isn't doing interviews over in Cleveland. He wasn't doing them in New York when he was the associate head coach. He wasn't doing them in Utah. It's a different ball game being the head coach of a team. You're subjected to a new amount of scrutiny. You're also, in the New York case, in the media capital of the world. Basketball is hot here right now. Dude, I live in Manhattan. When the Knicks were in the playoffs, there was a vibe with the city. Everyone was in Knicks gear. It's the one team in New York because there's always those schisms, whether it's the 60% New Yorkers who are Yankee fans and the 40 who are Mets fans, the 60 who are Giants fans, the 40 who are Jets fans. You could even go 55-45 with that. Rangers, Islanders, Devils all kind of make up. Rangers have like the 50% of that, but still there's other teams. The 99% of New Yorkers who are Knicks fans and no one who cares about basketball. And then the 2 people who kind of like the Brooklyn Nets, I guess they're a team. Like, it's just the Knicks are the one team that everyone agrees on. You're going to be subjected to a new group of scrutiny. Mike Brown has been there, done that, been fired, been hired, won championships. The man has done it all. He's seen it all. He's coached LeBron, Steph Curry. He's been under Pops, Rick Carlisle, Steve Kerr. That is a guy who I want as their lead assistant coach to me. If he becomes the head coach, I will give him a chance, but I want him as the lead assistant coach. I want Johnny Bryant as the head coach of this team.
Well, you know who really deserves a chance to be a head coach?
Who?
Mark Jackson.
No! Dude, I made a video on that. I got hate for saying that he should not be the Knicks. Dude, he only, like, what is your reasoning for Mark Jackson? I'm not saying this, like, hatefully. I'm saying, like, what is it? He coached 3 years, 11 years ago, and then a new coach took over and did better.
I mean, my thing when it comes to Mark Jackson is I don't think that he really got a fair chance in the NBA because I would much rather have him had the opportunities that someone like Doc Rivers had.
Mm-hmm. And he didn't because views. It was also players. Half the team did not love him. They were not big Mark Jackson guys. No. The views did not help anything. The way he feels about certain things.
He's a very outspoken coach, and you need a certain type of organization that can handle that. That's okay with that.
Yes.
But
and the Knicks are either perfect or horrible for that because of the media. It's one or the other.
One or the other.
I think he's too defensively minded for the Knicks. I want an offensively minded guy. He's defensively. That's my biggest problem. I have 2 problems with Mark Jackson. Look, the views that he has on things, do I agree with them? No. But whatever, that's not the point. The point is he's a defensive minded head coach, 1. And also 2, when you look at Mark Jackson, he's had a dozen, if not a good 30 interviews since the Warriors let him go. Yeah. Why has he never gotten a job? It's either 1, the views that he has blocked him, which is possible. I'm not saying it's not. Or he's doing something wrong in interviews. Matt, we talked about this a bunch with Eric Bieniemy and all the jobs that he interviewed for when he was trying to become a head coach in the NFL. It was the same thing. You have to be doing something wrong. And Marcel, we'll tell you what our joke was about him off, but I don't want to curse.
I mean, you could probably say the PG version. So Eric Bieniemy is the assistant. He's the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. Every year, sick offense. So we're wondering why everyone's looking for the next smart offensive play caller. Why does he not get an option? And we have determined that he goes into the interviews and then poops on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. I mean, when it comes to like Mark Jackson,
on the floor.
Mark Jackson not having a coaching job at 11 years, I think it's been 11 years. Yeah. It most likely is his fault. The loudest person you will hear in support of Mark Jackson is Stephen A. Smith. But the problem is Stephen A. Smith isn't in those interviews. He's not having those conversations, right?
LB So Wavy also made a very good point just now as well in the comments. It's just common sense. You're taking the team to church every Sunday, and their owner, I'm forgetting his name. I usually know the owner's name. He bought the team at a very cheap price, and obviously they're not the most wealthy franchise. But their owner is... I'm trying to not make enemies. Make enemies, Eric Bieniemy. His owner is LGBT. I feel like that's the... I'm trying not to say it in a way that's offensive. Like, I don't mean it offensively also. I just mean, like, he is.
Happy Pride Month.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. And good for him. Man's a billionaire. It's got to be harder. Like, life's not fair.
Yeah, but life's
not fair.
Yeah,
he's fine. Oh, no, he's fine personally. I'm not, like, feeling bad for him in that sense, but it's like it was probably harder to get there than some people because, like, jobs definitely blocked him from that.
Yes.
Is what I'm saying.
Definitely have barriers.
Like, there's definitely more roadblocks for him, and so I'm happy that he got there for sure. That's really cool. But yeah, also, like, you're in San Francisco. It's very, very open. It's a very open community that's like, be you, as you should be. I'm very much against Mark Jackson's beliefs on this. But But honestly, I think it's more than that. Like, there's going to be owners who's like, I don't care what your views are. Can you get me a ring? Like, I don't believe that 30 owners are going to be like, well, you didn't say this and this is bad press. Like, I don't think that's the case. It could be that.
Well, there's a football player
Yes,
by the name
I was thinking of that.
Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah. But he also didn't have a great final year.
But he was by far not the worst quarterback.
He should have had a job. He was way too good to not have a job.
It's the same thing why Shedeur Sanders fell in the draft.
Yep.
If you don't think he's good enough to be
Optics.
your starter, what you want out of your backup is someone who is going to be getting no media attention, is not pushing the starter for the job. You just want someone who's there when you need him.
Yeah,
And Kaepernick was not going to be that.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it also just comes down to optics, and not to talk about football too much, but I remember during the draft, me and my friends were watching like, day 1, 2, 3, like when is Shedeur going to get drafted? But I was telling them how it really is the optics. You have someone like Shedeur Sanders who's trying to get drafted in the NFL, but he kind of has a personality and attitude of a basketball player, right? Like, you are a good player, but a lot of these teams are a little bit old school in the way they view things, and they don't want their rookie coming in and making all this noise, whether you're going to be our starting quarterback or not. And I don't know if you guys follow a lot of what's going on. Shedeur Sanders is blowing them away in Cleveland, where he might be their starting quarterback.
He does have the best numbers as of right now from what I'm seeing in the camp.
Like, he's killing it. So it's like, why did you go 5th? It's not because of your skill. It's the way that you presented yourself. It's the optics of it. So in relation to Mark Jackson, it's clearly the optics of it. Because do people ever say he's a bad coach? But, like, does anybody ever say that he's a bad coach? Or do they bring up everything else that has nothing to do with coaching?
It is that situation as well. I think it's a matter of what happened with him. But again, he's doing interviews. Something's got to be wrong here. Teams that don't want him because of his views on life, they're not going to interview him in the first place. So he's getting interviewed. Why are they going to interview him? Just to, like, there's no point. Unless they think he is, like, maybe he's so good we can look over this. But it's not like Colin Kaepernick. Most people weren't taking his workouts seriously enough. Like, Shedeur Sanders.
Also, Colin Kaepernick has been out the league for almost 10 years now. Yeah. Stop trying to come.
He didn't take his own workout serious enough. He got opportunities to show up, and he didn't.
And he didn't.
He said, he said I didn't want to go to that team.
Yeah, he shot himself in the foot. But
a little bit. A lot of it was the other stuff.
Very quickly, I'm just going to look towards the football expert here.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like you had something to say about
Shedeur Sanders.
Yes.
The fact that his numbers are apparently the best when they're not the best. They are, if anything, right next to Dylan Gabriel's. Shedeur Sanders is going up against the 4th team numbers as the 4th string quarterback. He, yes, should have been drafted a lot higher than he was supposed to be. He should have never been a first top 5 pick. He doesn't have any elite traits, which is what is necessary. You're saying he didn't have the right mentality. Do we remember the things that Caleb Williams was saying just the year before? He was talking about how he is going to be the best thing since sliced bread. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. And he came out and didn't do any of those things. If you are that guy, they will draft you highly. I mean, if I'm looking for a starting quarterback, I want that confidence, arrogance, whatever you want to call it, out of my starting quarterback. The problem was with Shedeur, he was not good enough to be a team starter, and they didn't think he was good enough to be the backup. Right now, I do think he's better than Dylan Gabriel, maybe better than Kenny Pickett. I think he can start week 1. The thing is, his good plays are being overhyped because it gets clicks. And we have to remember he's playing against worse defenses than the other teams are playing. The number that tells me who they like at starting quarterback is the amount of reps they're getting. Dylan Gabriel is getting the most reps by a mile. So my pick is Dylan Gabriel to start the season.
That's why I look towards Matt, because it's the whole point of Jets Digest is I say a bunch of weird things and I just wait for Matt to be smart. I just try to be entertaining. I'm his Stephen A. Smith. He's entertaining too, though. That's the thing. Matt could run Jets Digest by himself.
Nah, but what was pretty good is the one practice I pulled up. Sanders had 23 passes when Gabriel had 36. Sanders went 6-1, and then Dylan Gabriel went 5-0. I was trying to convince someone that Gabriel was a starter above Shedeur Sanders, and one of my friends texted me the Iron Man meme and said Shedeur Sanders was able to score more touchdowns in OTAs with 13 less reps. You know the Iron Man one? Where it's like Tony Stark could build this in a cave with a box of scraps.
Yeah, yeah.
It was that. It was like Shedeur Sanders did this with 13
in a cave with a box of scraps.
It was so funny, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think from what I've seen, and I'm not a real big football guy. Like, I'm a Saints fan mainly because I was born there, and everybody in New Orleans cares about the Saints more than any other of their state's teams, right? But even so, there's no way that I don't know. I really was hoping the Saints were going to draft Shador because I absolutely, with every fiber of my being, hate Derek Carr, and I'm glad that he retired. I'm glad he retired.
Why do you hate Derek Carr? What did he?
What's
do?
good about him? What? Yeah, you tell me. What did he do?
What did Derek Carr do?
Yeah, what did he do?
In New Orleans or as a career?
Pick one.
So he was drafted in the second round, which has a horrific hit rate for quarterbacks, and he was a starting quarterback for a long time. He was good. He led the Raiders to a really high seed and then got injured. And then I think his name was Connor Cook, blew the game. So also I just got to address the chat one more time. Someone's saying the Shador hate is crazy. People told me I was hating when I said he couldn't go top 5. Is it hating if I'm right?
We won't know you're right till the season starts.
Also, separate
about
note,
that,
Matt
Chris-
loves Shador Sanders. Separately.
Dude,
he's a massive Shador Sanders fan.
my favorite team to watch last year was Colorado. Every single game. If I could watch Jets games or Colorado football, it would have been Colorado.
Dude, I
But
saw
I
a second
told-
Shador
baby.
Sanders video.
Longhorns,
and Matt's
baby.
response is, I have to be on this video. I love Shador Sanders. I was like, all right, works for me.
Nah, baby.
They're so
Longhorns.
entertaining. Everything. The best show in college football, because it's like a TV show. Every Colorado game somehow comes down to the wire. The best show in football was the Colorado Buffaloes.
Yeah.
But Shador Sanders, I told you, I was right about where he was getting drafted. Or I was right about where he wasn't getting drafted. No one could have been. Or Delaney Walker actually came out and said he was going to be a 5th round pick, and he was, which was absurd. Other than that, no one knew where he was getting drafted.
Shout out to Delaney Walker. Also a very solid tight end for $7 million years.
Clearly a ball now. Also only 6 feet tall. So maybe, Chris, maybe we could have been there too.
There's hope yet.
There's hope. There's still hope. There's still hope. I have a mangled knee, but it's all right.
I don't
I'll
know,
walk
man.
it off.
I'm 6'2", and I was the shortest. And I've been 6'2" since I graduated high school. I was the shortest player on my varsity team my senior year. Shortest player.
What position do you play?
I was forced to play shooting guard. I don't have the handles, passing, or vision for point guard, but because I was just a taller kid growing up, like I think I was about 6 feet by like my 7th, 8th grade. Like I was a tall kid, but then I stopped. I always played power forward, small forward, mainly center, but like I was always a big man. So I have big man skills. I've always had big man skills.
Same.
And then everybody's getting taller than me. I have to handle the. No, put me in the paint. I don't care if they're 6'5". Put me in there, coach. I can do it. I get my ass beat, but I'll do it. So unfortunately for me, I grew wrong. I should have stayed short and then get taller, but I got tall and stopped.
Well, Marcel, one position I played in high school basketball.
Small forward.
Nope.
I was a basketball manager for 2 years. And
I was going to say
never
equipment
made the
man.
team.
But you got
Never
it.
made the team. I did play football for a year. I was really, really, really good at being a backup defensive
He was
end.
really good at being
I
a
clapped.
legacy name.
Dude, I clapped so well, gave some good high fives, tossed some waters to the starters.
Triple double every night.
Hell yeah, dude. I was doing numbers as just because every single person who I shared a last name with went to my high school. So I got grandfathered onto a football team.
Oh, nice.
I
was
am
just
an
a really
awful
good-
athlete. Matt can attest to this. I have the least coordination in human history.
Jesus.
Dude,
See,
I fall over if I'm standing still. Like I have no ability to walk or move. I have the coordination of a 3-year-old, dude. It's awful.
So me, I never had a jump shot. I was a slashing 2. I don't have range. I don't. If you see me, I posted a video. It's an old video of me hitting a 3 on Twitter. Yeah, that video is like 4 years old, and I took like 3 takes before that. But
I did.
I was, I was always a defensively minded player, and a lot of my coaches, but specifically my dad. Shout out to my dad. He was, in my opinion, my best coach I ever had. He's one that told me at a young age, defense will keep you on a team. And
That's
so
fair.
I really just cared about defense when I was really young, and I'm the tallest kid. Like I'm getting blocks, and I'm thinking I'm Matumbo. I used to do the little finger wag and stuff, right? I used to be like, I'm Yao Martin, baby. Like, what's good?
Martin.
Yeah, so like I cared so much about defense, and by the time I got to high school, I made my freshman year. I didn't make the team my sophomore year. The team was just everybody was just better than me. I came back my junior year, my senior year. I made varsity both years, but I was just the defensive wing. Like, that's all I really was. I also don't care to score. If I have an open drive, cool, I'll do it. I will gladly pass that ball. I will give everybody good looks, and I will just play defense. I could finish a game with 0 points and have like 13 rebounds, 4 steals, and a block, and I'm like, yeah, MVP me, baby. All I care about was defense. Let everybody else score, because everybody wants to score, but I'll play defense.
Well, me and Matt cooked in the Pit Center, and that's what, or was it? It was not even
Bobby,
the Pit Center,
the Bobby,
it was in the Bobby
V's.
V Center.
Bobby
That,
V's.
dude,
We weren't allowed in the Pit Center.
We were not allowed in the Pit Center. We cooked in. Marcel, do you know who Bobby Valentine is by chance? He was the manager of both the Mets and the Red Sox, and one time I almost hit him with a basketball, and another time I almost fell on him and his dog. He was also the athletic director of our school for a year.
I saw a stat that he got kicked out of a game and then came back into the dugout wearing a fake mustache.
That's true. That did happen.
What?
Dude,
was he trying to
baseball is awesome.
Baseball
Dude.
is not awesome.
Dude, I almost
Baseball's
hit, I
dope.
almost
Alright,
hit,
so
baseball rocks, dude. You go to a baseball
Baseball
game,
is objectively
you're
the
living
least entertaining of the big four.
you're crazy. You're crazy. I
Baseball
also thought that too. Growing up, just always loving basketball. I'm like, baseball sucks. I will say
I
that,
didn't say it sucked. I said it was the least entertaining of the four.
I can't sit at home and watch baseball. But I live like 10 minutes from the Ranger Stadium. I'll gladly go to a Rangers game, and I'm up in the nosebleeds going crazy. I love going to a baseball game.
Oh,
Dude, so do we.
Yeah.
So do we. But the thing is, what's fun about going to the game? Is it watching the game or is it hanging out with your friends?
It's definitely the atmosphere. It's definitely the
It's the
atmosphere.
vibe.
That's what I was saying. When you go to basketball, football, the main event's in the middle. With baseball, it's different. And it's a lot of fun because it's cheaper.
A series of bars where there's a professional sports game going on, and it's so fun. It's the best.
Yeah, no, that's really
But guys, we've been on for 2 hours. Time absolutely flies when you're having fun. If you guys stuck around for this whole thing or a good chunk of it, thank you so much. Obviously, as always with Knicks Digest Happy Hour, we do come on here, we talk about the Knicks, and then we kind of veer off to basketball and then to just random stuff. And if you guys are enjoying the content, let us know down below if you want to see us stick to basketball or the Knicks specifically. We will do that. Every Friday, most Fridays, you can catch us on Knicks Digest Happy Hour. We are probably, or at least I am, going to start streaming more than once a week now that we do have some channel members on this. If you want to join and get a membership, feel free to. If you join on certain memberships, you will have a say in what the videos are going to be. And obviously, if you take the highest membership, which if you want to do that, that's awesome. If you do that, there will be live streams that we will invite you guys to, and you will find yourself as a guest on the live streams. If you take the second highest one, you will be granted 15 minutes on the live as well. So make sure to look into those if that interests you. If it does not, subscription works too. And if that really doesn't interest you and you want to just keep watching the channel, I can't make you subscribe. I'm not the boss of you, but I would appreciate it. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you always, Marcel, for coming around. Obviously, now that we're in season 2 or the revamped Knicks Digest Happy Hour, you will be back probably a lot, I just assume, because they're always more fun when you're involved. We are going to do something for free agency. We'll have you on that one for sure. I've talked to multiple people about that. We're going to have a 5-man stream going. We're going to get Bruce Velez and Bryson Akins as well on a 5-man Knicks Digest Happy Hour live stream right when free agency begins. So you guys do not want to miss out on all that content. You're going to have a bunch of Digest creators on there having a bunch of fun. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in. Like this, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Make sure to check out Mavericks Digest, dude. Look, even if you're not a Mavericks fan, it does not matter. Marcel is so fun to watch. I'm not a Mavericks fan. I'll be on PlayStation or something, which is usually when I watch YouTube when I'm just doing 2K rebuilds, playing MLB The Show, something like that. I watch Mavericks Digest. Marcel is so fun to watch, talk with the Mavericks, get to learn about another team. It's a really good time. He's the man. Make sure to subscribe to Mavericks Digest. Have a great day. Someone just calls you weird, but he is a Mavericks fan. Random user 95. Was that you?
Shout out to Random User. That's my guy. He's in all of my streams. That's my dude. Shout out
I
to him.
could tell. I saw the Mavericks logo. I was like, you know it. Have a great day, guys. Go Knicks. And I will say it because Marcel's the man.